sundown. We on the chase to the sun up. What's up? Leading the line when we run up. Chasing, chasing, chasing. Every day we chasing, chasing, chasing. No time to be wasted. Look, faking the lead, we don't follow. We need it now, not tomorrow. Don't care what they say, not changing the pace. Working too hard to be last in the race. So much time in the day, and it ain't none to waste. Working this hard to be one of the greats. Whatever it takes, put that on the plate. Life is a gamble, we raising the stakes. Moving the bar up so high. Been on our grind, full life. Bringing the light, you just so bright. We shining, platinum sound cool, but we trying to reach diamond. Hard work pays off, that's perfect timing. Changing the world with this rhyming, it's priceless. We got the nicest by putting the time in. Can't be the greatest, you're not even trying. What now? We on the chase to the sundown. We on the chase to the sun up. What's up? Leading the line when we run up. Chasing, chasing, chasing. Every day we chasing, chasing, chasing. No time to be wasted. What now? We on the chase to the sun up. What's up? Leading the line when we run up. What now? We on the chase to the sun up. What's up? Leading the line when we run up.
Hello? Man, I lost track of time. I apologize, Mama. Go ahead and eat without me. I'm still on the grind.
I ain't touching home base by dinner time. All I can see is the finish line. Started, I gotta finish mine. It's get it time, anytime, hella long. I've been in line, I didn't mind at all. Wake and bake won't take a break at all. That's on my word, my boss. Naming lights gon' have to pay me twice or pay me no mind, and I don't mind at all. My grind is grit, I am my job to inspire. I'm right behind, go to a line that's been fired by a chain for a time. I ain't get hired, second wind kicked in, I probably won't get tired. Kevin Gates or Kevin Bacon, only 6 degrees of separation between me and the next level of elevation. Perseverance, the art of dedication.
What now? We on the chase to the sundown. We on the chase to the sun up. What's up? Leading the line when we run up. Chasing, chasing, chasing. Every day we chasing, chasing, chasing. No time to be wasted.
Welcome everybody. I'm your host for the evening, GT45 Gaming. We are presenting Assetto Corsa Competizione tonight, and it's been a great series so far here on the platform with the Infinite Racing League. That's right, it is Sunday's GT3 Summer Series, live in your living rooms, your office spaces, or even in your cars nowadays, on your Sunday evening as we get prepared for our Mondays and our work weeks. Let's finish it off with a beauty. So, last season, we had a race at Zolder. That race lasted 80 minutes. That race was one of the best races I have ever been privileged to broadcast in my broadcasting career. Why? Because the weather absolutely did not cooperate with our racers. It poured rain for 80 straight minutes, plus qualifying. So for almost 2 hours, these drivers had to endure very hard downpouring rain. The racing action was incredible, chaotic, sporadic, and every worst case scenario may have potentially happened on the racetrack last season at Zolder. So the biggest question: are we going to see the weather cooperate at Zolder here this season for round 6 of our GT3 Summer Series? That is the big question. For those of us that seen last season's Zolder race, you know what I'm talking about. For those of us that haven't seen last season's Zolder's race, I highly recommend putting it on your want to watch list. It can be found on pre-recorded videos on the GT45 Gaming YouTube channel, Facebook channel, and the Infinite Racing League YouTube channel as well. It is an absolute must-see race. Fantastic race. We just got to see if Zolder is ready to play nice. We have 5 minutes remaining in free practice. And I would like to continue to build the hype up here for our race today. I know what's going on. And all I'm going to say is, like every round here at the Infinite Racing League, we have a doozy on our hands. I am seeing 18 drivers currently in pit lane with their cars fired up and their crews working on them. That's a nice size grid here at Zolder. It's an interesting racetrack. It's a mixture of high speed and low speed middle sectors at the end of the racetrack. If the weather's cooperative, I think we're going to see some absolutely incredible side-by-side, tight door-to-door racing action. If it's wet, grab your popcorn, grab your favorite snacks and beverages, just settle into your favorite spot at home or in your office and get ready, because I can't even begin to predict what's going to happen if there's raining on this track today. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Either way, it's going to be fun. So, as always, some great racing action. I want to take just a few minutes to thank, of course, Zolder, the track officials and volunteers for providing us a safe space to, well, flex our muscles and rev our loud pedals. We love the smell of gasoline, we love the smell of burning rubber, and we love the spirit and the sport and the competition of racing. So we'll take it any way we can get it. And today it's Zolder and it's GT3 racing. So ACC has recently gone through an update for those of us that don't know. And within that update came Valencia Racetrack, of course, fantastic racing circuit, and a few new cars. And one of those cars, which is going to be very prominent here, looks like tonight in the race, is that new Ferrari 296. It's beautiful. I can't wait to show everybody the Ferrari. Lots of drivers are sitting in this car tonight, and it looks like lots of drivers are very comfortable behind the wheel of this new Ferrari, available now for racing here in Assetto Corsa Competizione 2018. This is a PlayStation 5 version of the game, of course, so this is only for PlayStation 5 users currently right now. The crossplay is not able to work with the size and extensive nature of the new Assetto Corsa Competizione platform. The PS5 is able to handle the PC versions of the update, so PS5 users have become very fortunate to be not too far behind what PC is getting right now in a console gaming sense, which really makes this game moving up the charts quickly as far as the sim racing platform goes. And well, I mean, with the capability of having 30 GT3 cars on a racetrack, or GT4s, or doing 15 GT3s and 15 GT4s, the possibilities of the action really are endless within the platform. So this they just continue to make that improvement, and it's fantastic. So we are partnered here with Coach Dave Academy. I have forgotten to talk about Coach Dave Academy. We love Coach Dave Academy here, of course. Again, it's a Assetto Corsa Competizione PlayStation 5 version. It is only exclusive to PlayStation 5 users for this particular series, of course. For more information, you just got to jump over into SimGrid and sign up and look for Infinite Racing League within the registered leagues list and throw them a follow, and you can keep up to date what's going on, get a Discord invite, and the whole 9 yards. You get treated like an immediate member of the family as soon as you jump into the Discord server, and everybody is ready to race. That is the most important thing here. So all skill levels are welcome. We have drivers of top level skill right down to our AM rookie type of skill drivers. And the only way that you continue to get better is to sit in behind the wheel and keep putting the laps in around the tracks and the different cars. And next thing you know, you're grooving, you're loving life, you're enjoying this league racing. Organized racing is always at a higher standard than, say, random open lobby racing, because there's rules, there's regulations, there's volunteers to step in and make sure that those rules and regulations are being followed within stewarding and race control senses, and of course the great administration staff here. So thank you to all those people. Can't do it without them. Most importantly, we really appreciate the viewers all season long, every season coming in, absolutely smashing those buttons. And with that being said, don't forget to like and share the stream out. It's free to do no matter what platform it is that you're viewing from here today. All that does is help us grow. And hey, if it's free, why not throw a little love our way? We appreciate it. And if you really want to throw an extra level of support, hit that follow or the subscribe button today. Turn on all those live notifications. Never ever again will you miss any live racing action from the Infinite Racing League and GT45 Gaming. We appreciate all the support, and hey, it's all free. That's the biggest thing. Not much in life is free, but this one is. We appreciate y'all. So Drivers are settling and free practice is over. We are about to do the big reveal. So once race control clears the racetrack and clears the drivers good to go, the drivers will get ready for qualifying. Will be, I believe it's a 15 or 20 minute qualifier. Off the top of my head, can't really say. Let's go take a look. Let's find our beautiful information sheet here. Hmm. 15-minute qualifying run here today, and it's going to be a 70-minute race here as well. For everybody at home wondering how long we're going to be settled in here for tonight. So with qualifying and racing conditions, we're going to be at about an hour and 40 minutes. And by the time we're all set and done with podium interviews, we're looking at about a 2-hour broadcast for everybody here today. So settle in. It's going to be fun. That's for sure. All right, we're just going to check, make sure everything's working like it should be. All right, so we race control has actually released the drivers for qualifying at this point. So we'll flip that screen over for everybody to take a look, and we will get you on track with Fluka. All right, get that TV camera working here. So it is a Fluka on track here now. And there it is, that beautiful Ferrari, the new Ferrari here, just released with that update, just less than 2 weeks ago here. Now we got Nolander and Paradise coming in with the thumbs up on the stream and the share as well. We appreciate that extra support as well, everybody. And I hope everybody is having a good day, preparing for that work week, I know, right? But hey, we're going to kick it off with a great race tonight, so get ready. You see what I see. Zolder, just not playing nice. Zolder decides it's going to be yet, at least at the start of the race, it appears to be a very wet situation. So we are again going to see all the drivers on the grid absolutely tested to every skill and ability and knowledge they have behind the wheel of the car. Now, with that being said, the new Ferrari is very, very fresh to the game, the platform, and the drivers have had only just a few days to get used to the quirks, the kinks, try to figure out a setup for this car. So it's going to be interesting to see how this car does. But from what I've seen in practice, it looks very planted. All right, let's keep moving. Oh, we hit the wrong button, chat. All right, so here we go. Let's stick with Fluka. He's the first on track, I believe. So even if he's not, we're going to continue on with our number 18 Ferrari driver. So doing quite well in the championship as well, I believe, sitting up in definitely up in the top 10 without a question of a doubt, but potentially even top 6 or 5 in the championship standings without having looked at him yet this weekend. But the other Ferrari he seemed to handle really well, so it's going to be interesting to see how the transition goes for, say, a driver who is used to driving the Ferrari, and some of these drivers who we're seeing have moved over to this new Ferrari. So we've also seen, of course, the new Porsche, what was it, 992, I believe, that's been put into the game, so I would imagine we're going to be seeing them on track here today as well, as we have one of them, I believe, just out in front of that new Ferrari Fluka here. So we're going to stick with Fluka right now. That lap is still a good, valid cruising lap, but he's got a little bit of traffic in front of him with that Porsche driver. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Now, I'm a little scared to hit some of these buttons because I haven't tested this stuff before I went live since the update. So we're just going to stick with what we know for this broadcast, and then in the off week, of course, we'll get a little bit of research done and make sure we get all the good views out for everybody. Aaron coming in with that thumbs up, we appreciate you, my guy. I hope you're having a fantastic weekend. So here it is, Fluka. We're getting there. We're almost around the lap here. You can see pit entries right there. So just a couple more corners left here. It's such a tricky racetrack. It's a lot of fun, though. It really, really is. But in the rain, well, I can't even begin to speculate. I haven't done a lot of rain driving in Assetto Corsa, but it's a 137. So it's good enough for second place right now in the field. So let's go down to the 9th place driver and another Ferrari with, we're going to call him Sensei. We'll just call him Sensei here. It looks like a new driver into the series here. He's got a very classic looking livery on that race car as well for everybody here. Oh, you know it, Aaron. You remember the last time? Oh, we in for a treat. Again, Zolder strikes with the wets. So, oh boy, we're in for a good hour, 10-minute race here tonight. We got some cars at pit lane, potential penalties being served for maybe qualifying bans. I'm not 100% sure. I'm just speculating. Do not take that for face value. What do we got here? We've got SRE Boss. Now, I believe this driver was in a Mercedes or Lexus beforehand, so opting to move to the Ferrari. And if I'm correct in my assumption, you do give up all your points earned up to the point of the car switch. So he may be starting fresh back in the championship here. And this late in the season, interesting choice. Who we got? We got a new driver here. We got Nedward. I like it, Nedward. I love it. That's a great name. Here in 6th place, and again, another driver opting with that Ferrari. Now, new driver in the field, so he has still that open option to choose which car. Loving the new Ferrari. You've been in it? Oh, I haven't been in it yet. I really need to get on it. We've got the BMWs. There we go. So let's get back to some of the cars here that some of our drivers obviously have opted to stay in, even though that new car is there and tantalizing and enticing. Some of these drivers are fighting for championships. So you're going to see these guys not opt to change. They're going to fight it out. And then, next season, maybe we'll see them jump to those newer version cars. But some of these guys are fighting for championships here. And this is potentially one of those drivers, Rapid Duck. And, well, the name is suiting. So Rapid Duck, it's wet. I'm just saying. I'm going to put him on my list here. Just taking a shot in the dark on that, but the name, the weather, it just seems like it fits here. He did, I believe, drive the same race last season with the same car, so maybe even a little bit of previous information for this driver that may help out as well. We got GLR Seal. He's, again, hanging it out there in that BMW as well. Still, he is been here all season long. He has not opted to... Yeah, a bunch of the new DLC has been on sale. I know I need to really... Tomorrow, that's on my list. I need to go stock up. We got Racing Hobo. We've seen this driver in the past, so it's nice to see him back. We got Choco here on track. Love that. And Choco in that BMW here as well. We've got Viper here. Viper's in that Mercedes, so staying in that Mercedes here in the series. We've got Johnny B and championship points leader here coming into the series. If I'm not mistaken, he is the last season champion with the number 1 on the side of his car there as well. So this is the man everybody is chasing, and currently sitting in 3rd place right now in that Audi. Definitely not shocked to see that he has not opted to switch his car. Bloxham right now is our pole sitter, and he is, I believe, 2nd in the championship, chasing Johnny B for that championship. And right now, a couple positions up in this provisional part of the qualifying. So with 8 minutes remaining, all this could change. Yeah, but Bloxham is our provisional pole sitter currently here on the racetrack, and it looks like the drivers are handling the wet conditions fairly well so far here at Zolder. So a good job to the drivers on track and the teams behind the scenes to get these cars set up and ready for wet conditions. We've got H. Josh here as well, again opting to stick with his car as well this season. Adrenal Luke in the Lamborghini, and has missed a couple of races this season. Camera guy is totally sleeping right there. Hello. Hey, there we go. There's Adrena, and in 7th position here, and again with that Lamborghini. So loving on the Lamborghinis here. We love to see him too. One of my favorite cars as well as a commentator, so I love seeing these Lamborghinis on the track. We've got JDR. He's again in the Lamborghini. He's also another one of those Lamborghini drivers, and he's pulled out a beautiful white and blue schemed livery with, what is that, a little bit of red tinting. So looking pretty snazzy here in the rain. Should be easy to see for the drivers as well. There we go. Porsche driver. Here we go. Penciling Mad. Yes, very interesting name. We'll call him Penciling Mad. I'm totally down with that. But he is in that Porsche. The big question is it the new Porsche? It does look like the new Porsche, judging from the front and the side skirting and rear. It is most certainly looking like that new Porsche. So we're going to see how that thing handles here today as well. We've got Arcano Marcio here, and he looks like he may have also opted to jump into the new version. Possibly. They will correct me if I'm wrong, I assure you of that. Fluka here sitting in 2nd place. Again, really seem to be locking into that new Ferrari, so transitioning quite well. Now, I'm not sure if that costs the points for those drivers because they're already driving for Ferrari. All they did is opted to the new modeled car. We'll have to get some clarification from administration staff in between the seasons, and we'll elaborate more in round 7 when we bring round 7 live to everybody. So we'll definitely dig into that, get some information for everybody a little deeper. We'll do some commentator digging and get the goods, and let you all in on what's going on. Yes, sir. All right, but these Ferraris, they look beautiful, don't they? I can't just help but stop staring at them myself right now. They are absolute beautiful cars. They kind of look like a Lamborghini from the front, but man, they are all Ferrari in the back, boy. They mean some business. Cletus here, and he is... There we go. Where is Cletus? No, he has opted to go to Ferrari as well. Driver that's doing quite well in a championship standing. So maybe they aren't taking points away for the car switch right now. I'm not sure. Also, new Porsche has auxiliary lights in the headlight too that you can customize. Oh, sweet. I love that. We love new cars. We love new cars. We love updated cars, and we love real versions of racetracks. So Assetto Corsa, mine is having a few issues upon release of the update, but it seems like they've patched that all in now. It looks like they've done a great job again. Swinging for the fences here right now is the console edition of ACC, and boy, they're doing a great job. They really are providing us with some great stuff to organize events and just race and have fun with. That's for sure. Ferrari field today, without a question of a doubt. Lots of people really showing love to that new car, so not surprised to see it. Let's see if Ferrari's dominant or if the usual suspects still assert their pace and dominance over the field. I mean, only time's going to tell. Rain racing, when you bunch these guys all up, they got cold tires, I mean, look at how that little bit of wiggle right there in the BMW under throttle from rapid duck there, man, and then that car just a little hydroplane there. It's a matter of millimeters of movement before you've gone too far and you lose control of that car. So I mean, you know, driving on the edge right now in this BMW is for number 48 rapid duck. So, you can see it right there again, just catching a little puddle there, and it's just again losing a little bit of traction to the road surface there, and just sliding the car out. I mean, that can go wrong so quickly, but he is definitely on it here. He has put some time in these rainy conditions, a big hop out of that curb, and we've seen that exit of that chicane several times in last season's rain race. Really wreck some racers' days, so drivers are really going to have to be conscious of curbing under these wet conditions. Those painted surfaces on a warm sunny day are slippery. Add some rainy conditions to that, and we have just a big potential mess of no traction, and that's not good when the racing surface is wet. So Rapid Duck looking good here. GLR Seal in 12th place. We're going to keep going through the field. We still have 3 minutes remaining in qualifying. Right at the top of the screen there, you can see that little timer counting down. That lets us know how much time we have left. For those that are unsure where we're getting that information from, we have Racing Hobo here in 18th position. He hasn't come out and qualified yet, so I'm not sure what that's about. Going to start at the back of the pack potentially by choice maybe as well. Viper here is in 11th place in the Mercedes. Johnny B's down into 4th place here, so losing a position here in qualifying, and to which driver that is we're unsure, but Bloxham still sitting in. Look at that, just the slightest tap right there into the wall from our provisional pole sitter, and keeping the car out of severe damage right before the race, and he is going to park it. That is it. No need to wreck the race car. It is right now the fastest car on the track. Haven't messed with setups in the rain yet. For sure be super interesting. Well, that's the beautiful thing. At least you have base setups you can just go play around with. So at least it gives you an idea anyways. We got H. Josh there. I believe that was 9th place as he crossed the line. Adrena is in 8th place and going to call it quits here in qualifying as well. Again, we're getting down to the nitty gritties here. 2 minutes remaining. What are we seeing for laps? About a minute and a half, minute 40 laps. So we'll see a couple more laps from some of the drivers that are near the start finish line. One more from the drivers that aren't. And we'll have to see where everybody is when the dust settles. So everybody's just, that does look like new Lamborghini, doesn't it? It really does. It's hard to tell at the back end, but it looks different to me. It's been a couple of weeks, so I could just be seeing things here as well from the booth. It's a little tough to tell, but we definitely know the Ferraris and the Porsches are beautiful and new and loving. Penciling Mad, number 444 here as well, again in that Porsche. Carno Marcio there, we go, returning driver, has been here all season. Consistent driver, usually ends up in the top 10, literally just doing his thing. He doesn't push unnecessarily, drives very patiently, just tries to keep the car out of trouble, and it's paid off for him all season. He's had a solid season. We got Fluka here in 3rd place. Fluka is just rocking out in style here. So that is who dropped Johnny B down a spot here, was the Ferrari driver, Fluka, and driver's been showing some great pace here as the season has been progressing. See if he can repeat his podium here this week. We've got Sensei here in 2nd place. Boy, the Ferrari is really starting to show its strength, especially in the wet conditions here around Zolder. There's many of them up in the top 10. We got Pixel of Chaos. Love that name. In a Ferrari here as well. I don't think we've seen this driver on track here yet in the Infinite Racing League series, so it's going to be interesting to see what he brings to the table as well. The Lambo Evo 2 look the same light-wise, but it has a fin leading to the rear spoiler. Gotcha. Gotcha. The Ferrari is pretty easy to tell because, I mean, it just looks different, plain and simple. The Porsche is very subtle. The Porsche has subtleties that you can tell the difference. The Lamborghini, I'm not 100% sure on. We can change the camera angle here. Again, that's a Ferrari. It looks so good from the back end too, doesn't it? Let's find us one of those Lamborghinis. BMW hasn't. BMW. Mercedes, Audi. There we go. Yeah, so it is the new Lamborghini. It does have the fin as Aaron was talking about there. I'm not surprised. I mean, we're seeing. I mean, wouldn't you want to drive the new car? I would want to drive the new car. There we go, the new Porsche. Again, subtle differences too, right? I mean, they're very, very, very subtle. You can see guys getting set up in the car. When you see the cars bouncing in a set of Corsa Competizione, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that aren't sure, that's the drivers putting a setup or changing their tune and re-putting that tune into their race car. So essentially it's like the mechanics are putting a tune into that car and bottled that, so he's just going to pull it off and call it quits right there. He's in a spot on the track where he's not going to affect anybody who may be still on a hot lap there. So good call there by that driver. Oops, I keep hitting the wrong button. And it looks like most drivers are just happy with what they're at. We got JDR here. He was in 16th, so let's see what he's got here. And again, they're all beautiful cars. Let's see what he's got here. He's almost near the end of his lap. He's got pit entry here, and there's a chicane where pit entry is here. And then I believe he has one more. Nope, that will be the start-finish line after the chicane here. I had to think about that for a second. And let's see what he's got. A little bit of a slide out there coming out of the exit there, but it looks like a decent time of 38. And it's going to keep him in 13th position here. So unfortunately for JDR, it wasn't an improvement, but still nice, good, solid lap there from this driver. So it is going to be MX Bloxham in pole position. It's going to be Sensei in second place. It's going to be Fluka in third with Johnny B in fourth. It's going to be Cletus in fifth place now in the Ferrari. Rapid Duck in sixth. It's going to be Pixel of Chaos in seventh place. Adrena in the Lamborghini will be in eighth place. We've got SRE Boss in ninth and H. Josh rounding out our top 10. Most of these drivers are returning seasonal drivers. Some of them are new. Viper here in the Mercedes in 11th. We've got GLR Seal in 12th. We've got JDR in 13th. We've got Arcano Marcio in 14th. We've got Penciling Mad in 15th. We've got Nedward in 16th. We've got Choco in 17th. We've got Scary Guy for you too in 18th. Racing Hobo in 19th. And Critico Basilico, also in that Ferrari here in 20th place. So going to go out. He's going to run a couple corners real quick. Looks like he got into pit lane really late there. So it looks like 20 on the grid here, which is beautiful. We love to see that. That is 2/3 of a grid here. And we're in for a doozy for sure today. So that's going to put us on our 10th place driver leading into the race start. So what we're going to see, I believe, I may be corrected, we'll notice real quickly if the driver's set up in the chicane or near the chicane at the end of the lap, then we know it's just going to be a quick run through the first couple corners and it's going to be a rolling start, basically style race start here. We've seen that last week in the sprint races at Spa, or 2 weeks ago, pardon me, at Spa. So what are we going to see this weekend? We could see that, or we might see the formation lap here. Now, due to the rainy conditions, race control may opt to go with a full formation lap here just to assess the condition of the track before they release the drivers. Again, the driver's safety is always of the utmost importance. We don't have any sound from the stream yet. There you guys go. I apologize. Qualifying must have been pretty quiet there. Alright, we got everything kicking now. You can hear the rain. You can hear all the sounds. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. We're such a noob sometimes. It happens. Hey, let's go. I hope to repeat. Let's get it. Thanks, Ghost. Was pushing a little too much this blocks. That was a nice save, dude. You took like the lightest tap into that wall. That was great. That is how you keep your car together right before race start. Again, damage a big factor here too. Assetto Corsa is much different than the typical GT7 platform content you see here at GT45 Gaming. You know, very realistic, stylish game, but when you really break it down, it's more of a, compared to ACC, it's definitely more arcadey. Graphics-wise, absolutely phenomenal. It's got great visual appearance. Now, Assetto Corsa Competition PS5 version has it all. It's got great visual appearance. It has huge car grids. It's got racing tracks, updated cars, and the racing physics are really, really, really top-notch for the most part. So it is a great platform to be sim racing on if you're a sim racer. Not that I'm throwing shade on all those other platforms around us that we work with. We love all the sim racing platforms because at the end of the day, we just love to race. And any way we can get that on the screen for everybody to watch and check it all out to all the platforms, that much better for everybody else at home that's race fans, and that's the important thing. So we really enjoy our Sunday series here, though, with our Infinite Racing League. It has always been some great racing, and we're seeing much of the same thing. I'm sure here. It looks like one driver has pulled the car off the grid here, so we're down to 19 drivers. So I'm not sure what's happened there, but we're still going to have a great race. It's irrelevant. Maybe tech failure, maybe a mechanical malfunction right when they were lining up on the grid, anything. I mean, it's a race car. They have parts that break, they get wear and tear. Maybe the crew just missed something, maybe the rain is affecting something, you know, the car just didn't want to work or correct itself. It's hard to say, but we'll have to wait and see. Just watching the server stats here. There's some weird things, weird things going on. Alright, so a minute and a half, so we're at the start-finish line here, so we are going to see the full formation lap, I believe, here today. So we'll see these cars go around single file for a full circuit lap at about 2/3 of the way through the lap. So probably down that back straightaway at some point, maybe, you know, 2/3 of the way, 3/4 of the way down before getting to that final chicane. We'll start to see race control line the drivers back up in their qualifying positions 2 by 2. If race control is satisfied with the grid position and how the cars are lined up when they come around the final corner, they will, of course, give the go-ahead to the flagman to drop that green flag, and they'll go racing, and then from there they'll review the race start. Race starts are always reviewed to make sure drivers stay in position, and if they don't, then of course race control will come in, typically with a drive-through penalty, with some kind of stop-and-go penalty. So race start is very important. You cannot move up a position or get out of your line until the start-finish line typically is the ruling. So the drivers really got to be on point. And, well, it's going to be a tough night of racing for 1 hour and 10 minutes. 70 minutes of absolute, pure, wet racing goodness. It's going to be fantastic. Alright, I'm going to stick with 9th place driver on the grid here now, H. Josh. So moving up a spot on the grid with one of the top 9 drivers potentially disconnecting maybe, or again just having a mechanical failure with that car and just not able to make the grid. We may see him start from the pit lane because he missed a certain time window. Lots of different things can happen to Assetto Corsa. I mean, it is very well handled as far as driver ratings, sportsmanship ratings, penalty systems, race control goes within the game. It is very well set up. So again, just a great platform to really do organized events and league racing in for sure. Puts it to a different level. We love it. It's fantastic. 70-minute rain race. Oh yeah, it's tough. It's going to be a tough night on the drivers. It is a 1 pit stop requirement here this evening, and that pit stop requirement is for fuel. There is no mandate on fueling time. There's no mandate on the amount of fuel, so it is optional. The drivers can stop on the final lap, take 1 liter of fuel, and that will be enough to clear that pit stop. There is no tire mandate this evening. Again, the tires can choose to take as many sets of wet tires here tonight they can. If it goes to dry conditions, of course, they can go and jump onto their racing slicks from there. But there is no mandate on that tire change. So again, in these wet conditions, it is of the utmost importance to race control and the officials on tracks that safety is priority number 1. So there's no point in putting a mandate on tires in these kinds of conditions, because they would much rather the drivers, if they feel the need to put better tires on, allow them to do so, so they can have a safe race and go home to their families at the end of the day, because that is, after all, most important. So here we go. Just nice, good controlled pace here by race control. Everybody's relatively within the same amount of distance from each other. We're going to see a little bit of side-to-side swing. These racing wet tires are an interesting tire. If you ever get the opportunity to get into a pit lane and there's race tires available to go check out, just go and touch them. You don't even have to be that aggressive with them. You can just touch them, and it's like touching Play-Doh. Nice, brand new, unsealed Play-Doh. It's so squishy, it's so beautiful, they're so soft. And the reason why they're designed like that is because in these raining conditions, it allows them to not overheat, blow up too big, and create a loss of traction. They stay and remain cool with being so soft, and that's what allows them to build optimal temperatures for these drivers to ultimately drive at ridiculously insane speeds in the rain. So tire engineering is always a non-stop evolution process, especially for the tire manufacturers when it comes to racing development. And these rain tires are really an incredible feat of engineering, and that relates to real life, which maybe we'll get into a little bit later. Alright, so Race Control's got the drivers lining up 2 by 2 in their qualifying positions here. And as I suspected, right about that 2/3 or 3/4 way point in that final chicane, they're going to line up 2 by 2. So without further ado, kick them tires, light them fires. Let's go rain racing, folks. Oh, and we're going. And as everybody's coming around the chicane, they're being very cautious here. And let's see if Race Control is going to give us a green flag here. It does look good so far as everybody comes around. And we are green, green, green. There we go. You see the flag, man. Drop that flag, and we are off as we come into turn 1 under raining conditions, and everybody trying to do their best just to watch their P's and Q's. A little contact right there, and oh boy, this could be a red flag situation. This is a multiple car incident. You can see heavy damage right here on H. Josh. The Lamborghini driver here got a fairly unscathed. I count 6-7 cars right there. This is a big incident coming into the first corner here at Zolder. The ruling is, of course, that the drivers continue under flagging conditions until Race Control tells them differently. And I really do think, judging by the reaction of our drivers on track, that they are expecting to see that call. Here's the Lamborghini was again a little bit out of sorts there, but we're going to keep going here and see what happens. So that will be left up to Race Control, but that is definitely going to be reviewed. That was a multiple car incident right there, and it was just a matter of one driver getting out of sorts and collecting a whole bunch of drivers in the process, and a couple of cars definitely heavily damaged out of that. So let's see. We're just going to keep rocking and rolling here. Rapid Duck into 4th place. So the leaders got unscathed there. They got through it before that point. So the top 6-7 drivers were just able to avoid that very tense situation here on the racetrack early on. And we're a little less than 2 minutes into this race here. We got one driver in pit lane already getting work done on the racing car there. We got Choco. Oh, big mistake there from Choco, and he's going in hot. Hopefully he keeps that car under pretty good condition there, but if not, well, we might see a pit stop coming from Choco. Rapid Duck here, well, Johnny B, pardon me, sorry. Camera crew is just showing the wrong car there in 5th place. So this is our championship leader currently here coming into round 6. He's sitting in 5th. Ooh, well, a freebie right there is the Ferrari of Pixel of Chaos. Getting a little too much power down there, and that car absolutely stepped out and straight left into Barrier there. So unfortunate there for him, but we'll have to see if they call a caution out on that or if they're just going to let the race presume. But very, very early on in this race, it has been a little tense for some of the drivers within the field. Pole sitter is holding on to that lead, but Cletus is right there in 2nd place and charging right on the rear wing, basically. Of that audience. I can't imagine it's going to be too easy to see under there we go, that's the view we're looking for. So this is kind of what Bloxham is dealing with here right now, and it's not so bad for him per se because he has no traffic in front of him currently, so he's not seeing any overspray. Let's get into it. Oh boy, and there we go. As we get onto Adrenaline, maybe helped by contact there. As we've seen a Ferrari come through very close in behind. There we go. We'll get on penciling Matt here in our Porsche, and he is in behind Sensei. So Sensei was our 2nd place driver starting this race. Dropped quickly back down through the field here, but it's very, very early on. 70 minutes is a long time. Tough. Oh, absolutely, very tough racing here tonight. Penciling Matt in 10th place, and you can see this is what the drivers are contending with that are in traffic. I mean, he is, I would say, 5-6 car lengths in behind that GT3 car of Sensei in front of him, but he can't see that car. The spray is very, very heavy. So the rain conditions very heavy here. You can see limited visibility for the drivers here, so they're really relying on their muscle memory, their radio contact with their team, and of course what they can see in front of them for visual markers. So tough racing out here for the drivers tonight. Arcano Marcio there, and he must have been involved in an incident. You can see a little bit of a lift in that front hood there, so front splitter damage for sure, and potential further damage, as again the radiators in these Porsches are typically tucked right up in front of that front splitter. So car is still running here right now, and maybe with the raining conditions that's going to help, but if he did any damage to that radiator, that is definitely going to require a pit stop and potentially ruin the racer's day for the day as well. So they'll be monitoring that, I'm sure, in behind the pit box here as that driver continues on the racetrack. Fluke is here up at the 4th place. He was looking good in qualifying. He's been looking solid all season long. Transition from the Ferrari 488 now into the Ferrari 296 version here. This is the newest model of Ferrari, of course, in GT3 racing currently, in real life as well. We got Ferrari on top of BMW here. There we go. Sensei and Racing Hobo in a spirited battle here, and a nice, good, quick pass by Sensei. So very decisive right there. He knew where he wanted to do it. He just sent it in there. Great racing respect by Racing Hobo as well, and bada bing, bada boom, a position made there from Sensei. So great pass right there. And just because it's raining doesn't mean that the racing can't be fantastic. It's just racing definitely enhances the difficulty factor on the racetrack for all the drivers involved. Alright, we got a driver making a pit stop. Pixel Chaos, he's coming in. This is one of the drivers that we've seen, he's coming out, after repairs. One of the drivers we've seen just getting a little too early on the throttle and getting that car a little bit out of sorts, and it looked like he made contact with the wall. So, tough start for him, but I mean, still an hour, 4 minutes remaining. He's got plenty of time to make time up here. Let's see what he can do. Cletus in 2nd place, started off really high up in the grid, having a great race for himself here so far, tucked right up in behind pole sitter MX Bloxham, who right now has a little bit of position in hand on championship points leader Johnny B, and it is pretty close in the points between those two. So these positions, the difference in the amount of positions between the two drivers are vitally important, and I'm sure it's playing in the mind of both these drivers here this weekend as well. SRE boss here in 15th. Nothing really doing here. May have been one of those cars collected up in that initial incident. We got Nedward in the Ferrari. Ooh, some heavy damage on that right side of that car. So not sure how that's going to relate to aerodynamic function and his tune. You could have knocked his toe, his camber, a lot of things out. It's very easy to do in these race cars. They're very sensitive parts. I love you, Nobu. Hey, we love to see the fans coming out. Appreciate you stopping by. We've got Critico Basilico here, so he didn't qualify. He started dead last on the grid here, I believe. And currently he's sitting in 6th place, so quickly have moved up the field. Now, we know this driver is quick as well, but he is in a different car here tonight, so it's going to be interesting to see how he handles that adjustment as he comes around the racetrack as well. We got Rapid Duck. He's all the way up into 3rd place now, so slowly but surely moving his way up through the field in this BMW. And he is showing that these older, quote-unquote, cars still got what it takes to compete with these new Ferraris, Porsches, and Lamborghinis. Alright, so it's GLR Seal here in 18th position, and he has a gaggle of cars. He's got Choco tucked right in behind. Now, Choco's actually a position ahead of GLR Seal, so this is for a lap down, I believe. So blue flag being waved by her flag officials there, as we've seen. And at some point, this move or pass or change of position will happen if Choco catches up to Seal. If Seal can maintain the pace, he does not necessarily need to give that position up to Choco. But if Choco starts to reel him in at the next safest spot, obviously it will be expected that that driver gives up that position. And it's going to suck because he does have, I believe, the leader. And Cletus in behind here, 2nd place driver. So Bloxham and Cletus are coming up on these guys here as well. You can see Bloxham and Cletus have just gotten around Choco there, so Choco immediately realizing that those were the leaders in behind him. Great racing awareness right there, and immediately it got out of the way. And it will be much of the same thing here for GLR Seal. I think as the leaders come around, a little big slide there in the BMW as he comes around the corner right there, and the water wreaks havoc. You never know where the pooling is going to happen necessarily from one lap to the other. Some of the traffic is going to dry out certain spots of the track. Essentially, you develop a wet racing line, and it's hard to see, but it's definitely there. So yeah, lots of things can happen. There's just so many X factors in rain racing. But GLR Seal's doing a pretty good job here. He is cruising along here and seems to have pace. So just caught up in that initial incident there, and the blocks him slowly but surely, definitely reeling him in. And he's opened up a little bit on the second place driver, Cletus, as well. Racing Hobo in 11th place, so he's been dropping down the field place by place slowly but surely here. But I mean, maybe sticking to a plan, maybe has a strategy. We don't know what's going on in behind the scenes here with our number 59 BMW driver, but it looked like the Ferrari right there had a little bit of a wiggle in front of him there, so that might be a little bit of a plus, as he may be able to gain a little time on that car. So it seems like the drivers have settled in now. We had a little bit of fuss and muss in the first lap there. We got what looks to be Cletus off the racetrack right there, and it is Cletus, so down to 5th place from 2nd place. Missed a braking point, a little bit of dirty air, couldn't see his braking point, but a mistake definitely made by the Ferrari driver. Oh, and the Choco going deep into the mud, back onto the track. Drivers are going to have to be aware of that spot. It might be a little slippery as they come around the final corner there, and they're trying to get on the power to get up that straightaway. Again, just so many unknown factors in rain racing. The sand, the slow down sand in these racetracks when it's raining, it gets very mucky, it gets very thick, it gets very just gross, and if you track that onto the racetrack, it does in a sense create a slippery spot on the racing surface because it's not an asphalt surface. You have to break that traction through that gritty, slimy sand to get to that road surface, and that is just enough to upset one of these GT3 race cars at these speeds and really give them a bad day. So drivers always got to be 110% focused in wet conditions. You can't have a lapse for even a split second. Our pole sitter here starting to reel in GLR Seal, so he definitely has a little more pace than Seal, but it's not a heavy pace difference. So it's going to be interesting to see what Seal can do here now. I believe that pit stop is cleared as well. H. Josh, 19th place driver here, he's sitting in pit lane right now. His stop cleared. Adrena Luke is in 12th. Now we've seen a little bit of an issue from Adrena here early on in the race as well. Incident self-induced. A part of that initial first lap incident, actually, just a little tap in the rear quarter panel of a car, and chaos ensued. I believe it was 6 or 7 cars involved in that incident there, but everybody's back at it here. So great job to the pit crews to get these cars back out racing here again. JDR's in 16th position, 3 positions back from where he started. Penciling Mad is right where he started, just chilling, doing his thing, man. Again, these Porsche drivers, they seem to be very patient racers, don't they, so far, especially in this Infinite Racing League series. It seems like everybody in these Porsches seem to have a strategy, and they seem to stick to it, and it's like maybe factory Porsche, this is maybe how they approach their drivers and teach them how to drive these cars. Hard to say, but it seems like everybody behind the wheel of Porsche just really maintains a nice, good, patient, consistent pace, tries not to make too many mistakes, and it has worked out quite well for them in this series. So maybe there's something to it. Hey, maybe we're onto something there. We have Fluka now up into the podium here. So sitting in 3rd place, I believe, coming off a podium finish here last week as well. 2 weeks ago. So trying to repeat that here. So again, just continuing to improve on the pace, especially in this Ferrari. Again, having to adjust to the new Ferrari, but has been proven to be very worthy in the old Ferrari as well. So has adjusted quickly and really starting to put, mistake there by Johnny B in behind Fluka there, and he's going to come out of the soupy grass and sand there, and he's going to have some dirty tires in wet conditions. The irony in that statement as he comes around the next couple corners. So it's going to be a little slippery over these next couple sections for Johnny B. He's going to have to take it a little bit gingerly just to make sure that he keeps that car underneath of him. Sensei is in 8th place. It seems like having a little bit of a hard time to gain traction on the drivers up in front. He has Viper up ahead. 2-second gap between these two drivers, and it seems like he's just slowly but surely reeling them in, but very, very potentially equal pace drivers here. But again, that was our 2nd place qualifying driver here today as well, keeping in mind, so it is entirely hard to say. Qualifying pace is different than race pace. We say it quite a bit here on our broadcasts. because we see it quite a bit. Some drivers qualify super well because they're good at hot lapping, but race pace is a different ball game, might be their weaker point, and some drivers just don't qualify well but race extremely well, you know, and some drivers are just good at both. You know, it's just the way it is. And then you have everybody else that's still learning. You know, they make their mistakes, but that's okay. You don't learn if you don't make the mistakes, and that's the best part about it. It's okay to make mistakes. We are sim racing, so we're not wrecking real race cars, and we're not really putting our lives in danger. We just portray it that way to keep the real factor in it and keep the excitement in for the viewers at home. So, you know, it's just how we roll. It's just how we roll. Edward in pit lane. What do we got? Critical Basilicos sitting in 6th place here still currently. Again, we know this is a very quick driver, but everybody is always a little leery in a sense of the rain. You know, it worries, it concerns drivers. It's a different atmosphere, it's a different feeling. We got Bo coming in with the thumbs up as well. You gotta keep nice and cool. I mean, it's just a season. Yeah, it's just a season old. Facts. It is. Depends what series you watch. If we're talking about GT Fanatec World Series in real life, then yeah, it's definitely already a season old. If we're talking about IMSA, I mean the United States IMSA Championship for the GT3 cars have just brought the new Ferrari out on track just recently. So to some new, to some old, I guess, but it's still a great race car. Absolutely great race car. Absolutely great race car. Critical Basilico is the fastest driver on the racetrack right now too, as well as a 136.332. So definitely an impressive time around the racetrack here, and that looked like it was put down a while ago as well. So kudos to Critical as he's clearly gaining ground on the drivers out in front. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at this Ferrari here. Who we are? We're with Critical and his Ferrari here right now. Let's take a look inside of this Ferrari here. We haven't really taken a good deep look at what's going on here, but it's looking good. It's looking good. See what else we got. We can take a look at the driver's seat, the new netting system that we see nowadays in new racing as well. The dual driver's nets there. Obviously in rolling conditions, has to keep the driver tucked right into his or her driver's seat. In combination with the Hans device, and of course that's where you see the seat, the say belt that is underneath that belt is the Hans device. So the 5-point harness goes over that holds the driver in place, but that also means that the drivers don't have a lot of movement side to side interface. Now obviously this is what he's dealing with here right now. He knows there's a car there, and boom, like all of a sudden, holy moly, hey, he is right there. Okay, we're closing in, but got to be aware of that. So on edge driving all the way around this racetrack right now. There's some of these drivers that are very, very close together still, quite a few of these drivers as well. We're taking a look behind. There's a bit of a gap right there though, and it's about a second. Although it looks like it's a bigger gap, it is only 6 seconds is the timing update. So yeah, no immediate pressure. So Critical is really focusing on that driver out ahead of him here. And it is Cletus, and it seems like he's closing in on Cletus here. Now, Cletus was obviously on pace with our pole sitter MX Blocks, and he was tucked right in behind him, right up until the point where he had an incident. He ended up off track, and that's what's put him down into 5th place here. So we know that Cletus has to pace, and we see Critical reeling him in. So maybe Cletus suffered some damage in that incident. It's hard to say. We have to wait to see and get a good look at that race car, but Rapid Duck now up into 2nd place, and he's got the 3rd place driver and 4th place driver and 5th place and 6th. He's got his hands full. Let's put it this way. Rapid Duck has his hands full. Bloxham has about a 7-second gap right now on the field. Bloxham has a cushion, a nice comfortable cushion, and that's perfect. So the Corvette comes, yeah, that'd be fantastic, wouldn't it, Aaron? I'm all for the Corvette too, 100p. That'd be the first one I'd be looking at. Oh, baby. That's my jam. Alright, so Rapid Duck here, and you can see Fluke is right there. Fluke doesn't seem too interested in forcing anything right now with Cletus. Now, if we remember last season's race at Zolder, we watched the leaders battling for position take each other out on 2 separate occasions during the race. And on 2 other separate occasions, we've seen the leader wipe themselves out in their own incidents in the race. So 4 different times last season we've seen the leaders of the race have something crazy happen and end up wherever they ended up in the field and at the end of the race. So far tonight we've seen not that scenario, but it is still very, very early in this race. That scenario most certainly still in play. GLR Seal, 17th position here. Early pit stop from this driver. I think a driver that got collected up in that early incident there, but clearly has decent pace there. Racing Hobo here in 12th position is absolutely killing it here as well. Holding his own. Nice little bit of space, a little bit of breathing room. But when you make a little bit of errors like that, that breathing room quickly disappears. Choco here in 16th position. Choco's the one chasing Racing Hobo. So Racing Hobo has 2 positions on Choco. So Choco is a lap down to this driver currently right now is what that tells us. Viper in 9th place. There we go. We haven't been on this driver much today. Let's give the Mercedes team and driver a little bit of love. I believe it's the only Mercedes in this 20 car deep grid here tonight. Now we're down, we're still up to 20. That's fantastic. So sitting in 9th place, holding out top 10 real well here, using lights to communicate and let the drivers in front and behind know the intentions of this driver. So a little bit of light communication happening here. Now Marcio with a damaged car right there in 10th place, holding his own pretty good. He's got adrenaline right tucked in behind. And then they got a car that's a lap down tucked in behind them. So the lap car is just essentially just trying to stay close and use every advantage you can to get around the track a little bit faster. Maybe grab a couple of those lap spots back from those drivers. When they make that pit stop, maybe he's at least that lap back on 2, 3, 4 of the drivers ahead of him. So it's interesting to see what'll happen here. But the flashing of the headlights here again as Viper's coming in, and maybe just warning at the braking point to the driver in behind. Like I said, a little bit of communication here depending on the situation right now from these drivers. It's beautiful to see. We got Anthony coming in with that thumbs up too. Hope you're doing fantastic, my guy. All the way over from Australia, I believe. So, woof, coming from all corners of the world. We love it. All right, let's see what's going down. We got Johnny B in 4th place. I mean, this is a great battle. I mean, in all honesty, from 2nd place down through 6th place, they are nose to tail in the rain around Zolder in brand new race cars. The majority of these guys, yeah, we can't make this up. This is great stuff, and it just goes to show of the pace of this particular group of drivers. Very equally paced racing here, and after, well, we're at 50 minutes in, so after 20 minutes of racing, we still have a very, very tightly packed group of cars here in the rain. These drivers are hooked up, they're locked in, they are here to race 100% tonight. So we're going to be keeping our eye on this little pack of drivers for sure. They're about 7 seconds in behind the race leader here right now. I'm not sure why they're waving a blue flag there. None of those cars are blue flag cars. So here's our race leader. MX blocks him 9.5 seconds to 2nd place driver Rapid Duck. In between Rapid Duck and our race leader is a blue flag car, GLR Seal. Now, GLR Seal has proven to have pretty good race pace. Just got involved in an early incident, had to fix some damage, ended up falling in behind on the back foot type deal. Has the pace, could potentially make it difficult for 2nd place, 3rd place, 4th, 5th, and 6th place to get through that driver due to the pace being quite equal, and potentially could allow MX Bloxham to gain even more time on the field, the pack chasing him in behind. So right now, this driver is in control of his own destiny in the first half of this race. Adrenaluke here back, moving through the field pretty good, so definitely feeling good in this new Lamborghini, pardon me. But we did see one incident from this driver, and Chaos really closed up there. Pixel of Chaos gained a good chunk of time behind the Lamborghini and the Ferrari right there, and not able to make anything happen, but every little bit of time gained is obviously gets that adrenaline pumping, and it gets you moving, and all of a sudden you start to lock into that flow, that next rhythm, that next vibe, whatever the case may be on the racetrack. But it's all about momentum, it's all about confidence, it's all about rhythm, and when the drivers are locked in, that's what we're talking about. They're feeling all those things. You kind of get tunnel visioned in a sense, and it doesn't become hard, it becomes natural movements. Arcano and Adrenaluke both having to bail out there. Everybody got clustered up a little bit. That was a great job. Very unfortunate for these two racers. As we got a car coming up to speed here in that Ferrari, he's going to have to check up in behind. Great awareness right there. Adrena as well getting back on track. So both those drivers just checking up not to hit the driver in front in that little bit of a bottle up right there, and both these drivers just spun out while checking up not to make contact. So they've been 100% doing the right things there, and unfortunately costing them a little bit of time and position on the racetrack. But that was a really great job by both these drivers. That was a 5-deep group there, and not one driver actually got taken out with contact. So these drivers definitely showing some serious focus here tonight. Really great job by all the teams and the drivers. Unfortunate for the spin, but it's nonetheless still a great job by the drivers. Reactions are really key when behind the wheel of a race car, because anything can happen at moment's notice. So that was great work right there by everybody. Cody Bass coming in with the thumbs up. We got the share coming from Anthony. Appreciate extra support with the share there as well, Anthony. I hope everybody's enjoying this race. Zolder in the rain is always a beauty, and much more controlled race this season compared to last season. Lots of chaos still, but it seems like the drivers are settled in here tonight. Arcano's finally going to come in here. You can see that hood's it got a little damage. That front splitter is going to need to be replaced there. Definitely losing some front grip with all that aero damage, and we got to have to check on again that radiator in that car. In the Porsches, the radiator is just underneath that driver's side front light section, basically light setup. It's very, very exposed in the position it's in. It doesn't take a lot of contact to damage it, so they're definitely going to be checking on the radiator in that Porsche too as well to make sure that it's not compromised. If it's compromised, the Porsche is going to overheat, and if that car overheats, that's it. It's going to cook it. It's going to die. It's going to be sitting on the track smoke, and they're going to have to pull the tow truck out, bring that car down, and well, we all know what happens. That's it for that poor driver. So these crews have lots to think about. Just a little TLC. Hey, that's right, Aaron. Just a little. You know it, brother. But Fluka now up in second place, so has gotten around Rapid Duck, but ooh, gets a little bit wide right there. He's going to get into the dirt and the mud, so that might be Rapid Duck's opportunity to close in. But again, that spray from the back of these cars is so hard to drive in. Ooh, and there it is. Fluka gets the chicane wrong, and oh, Fluka is going for a ride. Wow, he rides it out, gets back on track, does not interfere with all the drivers coming. He just tucks right back into the back end of this pack. That was a great save right there by the Ferrari driver Fluka, as oh boy, you've seen how slippery that grass is right now. It's going to be a little bit slippery on the tires here on this driver. He's going to have to check up a little bit here, but he's really trying not to lose the back of the pack and losing some positions there, but overall definitely could have been worse. Save of the day right now belonging to Fluka for sure. Going from second to sixth place, unfortunately, and boy oh boy, it just got a little bit wide, and it all kind of fell apart in that sector there, and that's all it takes when you got pack racing like this. Where are we at here? 7th place Sensei. So oh wow, there we go. Oh boy, it's a little rear top on the wall, and this driver sideways, and it's kind of a blind corner right there. So let's see if we can get that car fired up and get it out of the way. He does, gets it in the grass, keeps it out of further contact, but he does have Adrenaline Luke coming at speed, realizes Adrena's there. Adrena gets a caution flag notification and gets around safely. So oh boy, Sensei there making just a little mistake under that throttle there, and boy, you can really see how these wet conditions can really affect these race cars at unexpected moments. Pixel of Chaos, 12th place. We see this driver have a little bit of trouble here in the early doings of the race. It looks like he's got that car all cleaned up, fixed up, and ready to go again here. And in 12th place, he's been sitting there for a while, so doing a pretty good job there. We got Cletus in 3rd place. Again, beneficiary to a mistake by Fluka there, and the Ferrari is going to get a freebie there, and just trying to close in on Rapid Duck. So Rapid Duck gets that free pass back to 2nd place with that mistake from Fluka there as well. But again, great racing awareness from everybody. I mean, it seems like these drivers were really focused and ready up for this race tonight. That is made for a good race. Lots of good action, lots of good battling here, lots of patient, smart race decision driving as well on track here today. We got SRE Boss here in 13th and JDR in 14th, just in behind there by a few seconds as well. SR Boss trying to get his lap back from Critico, who is sitting in 8th place here now. So Critico must have made a mistake here now as well, or cleared a pit stop, but dropped down a couple positions himself. So even our pro drivers, even our top dogs here, again, the rain, it's a whole different ball game. It's unpredictable. You just can't predict what it's going to do as the temperature changes, as the wind changes, and whoa, Mercedes just grabbing that car underneath of them there, getting the pressure from the Ferrari in behind as well. And oh boy, Nedward almost had a situation happen in front of him there, but that Mercedes driver gathering that car back up, and it's just, again, that's simple to do. And just a little early on the throttle, and he caught a puddle there. Ooh, Ooh, hang on to it. Critical Pacifico here in 8th now, so not sure what happened to him. In behind Racing Hobo here now, and I believe that's going to put Fluka probably back up into P5, but it looks like he cleared his pit stop here, so I see a green tag there now, so I think that's exactly what we saw. Ooh, big bounce over the curb right there. From the Ferrari driver, lap down driver right there as Rapid Duck came through, and that's a scary moment as the lead lap car coming in behind a lap down car and seeing that happen in front of you. You just want to hope that he keeps it together and doesn't come out in front of you and cause you to have to make evasive action. Again, hyper focused. Drivers have to be hyper focused here today. 17th place driver, GLR Seal here. Again, just a rough start to the race here, but has been showing some pretty good pace. Got Sensei in behind right now, 1.7 second gap, and then a couple of the race leaders starting to come up on him. Critico has just moved up ahead of Racing Hobo there as we come to see what's going on here. So Critico got the job done. Ooh, big slide there from SRE Boss in behind as well. But driver's doing a pretty good job here. We're seeing lots of good pack racing. Some of it is mixed traffic, but the lead lap traffic battling is not going to end here. This is just the beginning, I assure you that. Choco here in 16th, and oh boy, he has some damage. He definitely had a tough hit here, or went for a ride somewhere around the racetrack. Oh, you can see it's affecting the car. Having a hard time getting that to turn around the corner there. Let's go to Viper here. Again, the Mercedes driver had a nice save there, losing the back end of the car a little bit, but is sitting in 6th place here right now, but does still owe that pit stop, as you see that number 1 in orange on the bottom left segment of the screen. So the orange means that they still owe the pit stop. The number within that orange means that's how many pit stops left owing. Now today it is just a mandatory 1 stop. It is a fuel stop, and it doesn't require a certain amount of time, or there's not a certain amount of liters of fuel that need to be put in. But you do need to stop and add at least 1 liter of racing fuel to these cars. If they do that, the race official will clear that pit stop as the mandatory stop has been cleared, and we see it go green in that little box to the right of their driver number and car they're driving. So the ones with green means they have pit, they have taken their fuel stop, and they are not required now to make that pit stop. They are good to go. The drivers that have the orange box with a number in it still owe that many pit stops, and we will see them at some point when they decide to make those pit stops. So Choco bailing out a little bit there as the leader was coming up on him there, and Bloxham will just mosey his way around through as he continues his charge to hopeful top step victory here today. We got Adrena in 10th place, doing a pretty good job battling back here. It's been an up and down race for the Lamborghini driver here, but still showing some good determination, and well, next position is 7.5 seconds in behind, and next position in front is quite a ways ahead. So in a peculiar spot right now is Adrena, but with a cleared pit stop. JDR is in 14th, so same thing, cleared his pit stop. He eats a lot of curb there. You can see the reaction of that Lamborghini hitting into those sausage curbs there, but comes out unscathed, thankfully. That can do damage to these lower race cars as well, so the drivers really need to be aware of how much of the curbs that they are putting into their suspension, because again, these racing car parts are super easy to break. They're super fragile, and that's just due to the way that they're set. They're set for the car to react a specific way under extreme circumstances, pressure, stresses, physics, all those things. So it makes them very fragile as well at the same time. Strong but fragile, easy to knock them out of their tune, and that can create a snowball effect of problems for a race car driver behind the wheel. And it's a learning. You don't know what it's going to do when that happens, so you just figure it out as you go, and most of the time it relates in pit stop and the team having to fix something. So Arcano here in 15th just went and cleared the pit stop. Let's see if he did the new front clip. Looks like they did a front clip hood replacement on that car, so everything checks out. Get some new body work down, try to get some aerodynamic force back into that car and let him put down some good laps. Fluka is coming in for his pit stop right now from 5th place. We've got Sensei now. That's going to move him up a little bit, so we're going to see the positions jump around over the next few laps. It looks like this seems to be the majority pit stop area that everybody's intending on pitting, as we've seen a few drivers over the last 2 minutes hit that pit lane. We've got Pixel of Chaos. He's in 12th place. He is chasing Penciling Mad. That is battle for position for 12th and 11th place, and there's only about 1.2 seconds in between the two of them, so potential battle really developing there. Let's keep an eye on these two as they come up towards pit lane. They both have cleared their pit stop, so I don't foresee any reason for them to go in there, but you just never know. You never know. Alright, so it's Cletus and Rapid Duck. So Cletus is doing, well, what he's been doing all race. He's starting to reel the race leaders in. So Cletus has moved his way back up through the field after his little excursion off track there, managing to keep the car out of severe damage, which was a bonus, and that's allowing him to still continue to try and charge further up. Right now, he's on the podium, but further up the podium for a better points position finish. But lots of race left, 36 minutes left yet. He's only halfway through this race, just a little under. So when these drivers decide to pit, they might wait for each other to pit. I'm not sure what they're thinking here, but typically we see that with the race leaders. If the leader pits, everybody else tends to follow suit. We can see Blossom just up ahead, just going past pit lane there actually. So we do not suspect to see Duck and Cletus go in either, and that is the correct assumption. We got SRE Boss here in 13th place, and boy, some of these drivers just had a tough day in the rain. Tough day in the rain. It's just the way it goes. Edward here in 18th place. Lots of new faces here today too. We love to see that. We got a Cohen on the track there, but I guess race control deems that it's not a hazard where it is on the racetrack, so they're just going to leave it sit there. No point in stopping the race to go pick up that Cohen. We've got Critical here in 6th position. So 8th after the pit stop, back up into 6th after the drivers in front of pit. Viper still owes a pit, so they're still in position to gain there for Critico and Fluka, who's in 7th place, who's now cleared their stop as well. Rapid Duck, 2nd place, moving, grooving, cruising in that green BMW machine. I love it. That was great. But Cletus definitely hounding them. Go. Race control just came through right there with the halfway point of the race. Over our booth radio there, you guys just heard it just like I did. So a big curb cut there, and so far I haven't seen the heavy penalties come down from race control. Haven't seen the drive-throughs for track limits yet. Maybe race control is taking it a little bit easier on our racers due to these absolutely well, soggy racing conditions. Hey, Chad coming in with that thumbs up on the stream. How you doing, brother? We appreciate all that support here at IRL and GT45 Gaming. GLR Seal, BMW, up into 16th, so gained another position. Patience is but a virtue for this driver, and slowly but surely chipping away. Racing Hobo in 7th place, and this driver just chilling. Again, you know, another one of those drivers. He's got a plan, he's got a strategy, completely sticking to that strategy, not worrying about the immediate pressure of the battles. If they get around, that's all right. You know what? I'm just going to let him go. Not going to cost any time, and see where he ends up at the end of the race. Right now, sitting currently in 7th place, doing a great job. The next positional car is quite a ways away from him, so a little bit of a gap. If JDR, for example, in that new Lamborghini Evo in behind, decides that he's going to put pressure to get his lap back, I mean, if I were racing Hobo, I'm just going to, you know what? Go for it, man. Take it. You got a little more pace than me right now. I'm chilling. I would just totally let him send it around and get that lap back and just not interfere with your race. Again, no immediate pressure for position in behind, but how aware of that is the driver? We don't know. Choco's in 17th position here, and he's still nursing that poor BMW around the racetrack. John coming in with the thumbs up. How you doing, my guy? Hope everybody's fantastic. Hello, GT45 and all. How you doing, my guy? Hope you're doing beautiful. All right, Viper in the Mercedes, the only Mercedes on track here today too as well. So the only one representing here for Mercedes today, and doing good. Got a top 10 sitting here right now in 9th. 10th place is Lamborghini driver Adrena, and 30 seconds in behind. So Viper has finally stopped, cleared that pit stop, given up 5th place, comes back out in 9th. Johnny B owes the pit stop still, so some of these lead drivers are still going to have to make that stop. He has moved his way up into 3rd place, and for Johnny B, it is getting as many positions up on, or closer to Bloxham right now, who is currently running away with the race, but he is going to just jump into pit lane, so maybe some undercut happening here from Johnny B, hoping he comes out in some clean air. No, Rapid Duck up in front comes into pit lane in front of him here as well, so it just seems like that's again, we're just in pit window here right now for the majority of the field. It seems like drive through for speeding in pit lane for number 911. Who is number 911? It is going to be Viper 0024, so 9th place Mercedes driver picking up a stop and go for speeding in pit lane penalty. Oh, that's going to drop him some positions in the field. He is going to have to put his head down. He has 3 laps to, oh, it's just a drive-through, to clear that drive-through penalty. So race control issuing out its first penalty of the night here, and it belongs to the Mercedes drivers. So Fluke is up into 6th place. Critical's in 5th, just ahead by about 3 seconds. I can see Critico, but not close enough to make anything happen right now, but at least can still see that car, and really kind of out of the car's overspray as well, so clear, well, as clear vision as Fluke can get right now due to the conditions, without being tucked too close up behind that car. He doesn't have the extra water coming into the windshield of that car, affecting his visual referencing. We got Sensei up into 8th place, bit by bit, piece by piece, just picking up these positions. Again, started in 2nd place, definitely down some positions from the start of the race here, but definitely still holding his own here in the top 10 of the grid today. A pixel of chaos. It's been an up and down day for this Ferrari driver. We've seen one incident out of this driver. He definitely a pit-worthy incident. Looked like he went pretty tough into the wall nose first. Got some repair work done to the front end of that Ferrari. He's been out just kind of moving and grooving ever since, and almost got himself back up into the top 10. So 8.3 seconds behind the 10th place driver, Adrenal Luke, currently is Pixel of Chaos. Cletus started up in the top 6 of the grid. I can't verify right off the top of my head exactly where it was at qualifying he started here, but it had good race pace to start this race. Was literally tucked up underneath the rear wing of the later MX Bloxham for about the first 15 to 18 minutes of this race, and then just made an error, lost some positions, and has been working his way back up through the field since. Now pit a couple laps ago again. They're just playing an undercut situation. Racing Hope was the driver up in front. That driver still owes pit stop. Whether or not Cletus is aware of that, I'm unsure. And driver 911, the Mercedes driver, of course, has just cleared that drive-through penalty here. The race control just verifying as well, so good to go. Race continues on for that driver, but making his way back up through the field. So definitely going to be a position gain. This is only a 5-second gap right now to Racing Hobo, and Johnny B is about 7 seconds up the road from there. SRE Boss is now back up into 13th position, so slowly but surely doing much of the same thing. Involved in that very early racing incident, collected up, get some damage repaired in the back of the pack, and just making his way through the field here now. 70 minutes is a long time in racing. We got a yellow flag on the racetrack, and it's in behind this driver here, so I'm not sure who that was, but still off track is that yellow flag driver, so yellow flag being waved here. Maybe a little trouble refiring that car in the wet conditions as well. Alright, so Viper's in 10th place, so only losing 1 spot, having to make that drive through, so not terrible for this driver, but definitely wants to stop moving backwards in the grid, would like to start moving forwards in the grid, I'm sure, again. So Adrenal Luke is in sight, 1.7 seconds ahead, and at least he's still there to try and get that position back from that driver if the opportunity allows for it. Johnny B in 5th place. 4 positions in between him and MX Bloxham in the race lead right now, and as championship points leader, he is definitely thinking about that while behind the wheel of the race car here, but he has some tough racing conditions to deal with here too today as well. So it's a risk versus reward in a round of racing like this, and right now playing the safe game. He's comfortable with the car where it's at right now. There's really no need to push it, and still leaves you 2 weeks to do what you got to do and hopefully secure that championship. But definitely under fire here as the season progresses from a couple of these drivers, and one of them drivers, of course, being our race leader Bloxham right now, who is moving and grooving. Is he going to pit lane? No. You can tell just by the way he's braking that he had no intentions of going to pit lane. If he was going to go into pit lane there, he would have went in there with a higher rate of speed. There's a line that you have to stop to a certain speed. Whatever pit lane speed is, typically around 30-35 miles an hour. Some tracks with bigger pit lanes, I think it's 50. But you have to slow down to that speed before you cross that line. Of course, your transponder unit that's placed underneath the race car is an electronic data transfer device, and it transfers all that data to race control. So they get all that comes up on their computer up in, of course, the race control tower. And the moment the driver crosses that line, they have that information available to them. So they know the speed, they know everything they need to know. They know the time that the driver spent from entry to exit, how long they spent in their pit box. That's how they do the live timing on the tracks. It's all done electronically by buried wires underneath the racing surface. So blocks him right now cruising. He has 0 pressure in behind right now. Adrenaline Luke, this is what it looks like from the Lamborghini's perspective here. That was Audi driver, MX blocks him our leader. This is 9th place driver Adrenaline Luke, and this is what it's looking like through that Lamborghini Evo 2 cockpit as well. So some of the new cars on track here for everybody on display tonight as well. And well, yeah, I mean, not surprised to see that. Oh yeah, we love new race cars, new to us anyways. So Adrena, just out of that overspray range here as well from Choco and the BMW up ahead. So getting a little bit closer now. It's visually distracting, not too bad for this driver currently. Who we on board here with another Lamborghini JDR, almost getting in trouble with the walls there, coming back up to start finish line. We got penciling mad here in the Porsche 992, I believe this was. Let's take a look. Good, decent amount of vision, but again, you know, Porsche's Porsche. It's a small windshield. It's a very curved windshield, so a little bit of limited visibility, I'm sure, in these wet conditions with that spray. But you can see it's not overbearing like it was a little bit earlier in the race. Though it looks like the rain maybe it definitely hasn't stopped, but it has subsided a fair bit here. It looks like so. Good to see. Well, that's what we like to see. Alright, Arcano Marcio here in 14th. Had damage early on in the race, fought at a very long stint with that damage, did a pretty good job. Currently sitting in 14th. Right now, worst finish for this driver here this season is his 14th finish. If this is where he goes, I believe. I could be incorrect on that, but if my memory serves me correct, this is potentially his worst race finish this season. And again, it's just the rain. The rain is the X factor. The rain it just creates too many unknowns at any time on the racetrack, and you just can't predict. You just can't. It is too hard. All right, 296 Ferrari driver Feluca. So Feluca has an advantage. I mean, already the Ferrari driver in the series, one of the Ferrari drivers in the series, has a little bit of comfort factor with the brand, the car, the design, the setup. It jumps into this new model of car and has quickly adapted, it seems like, as he's sitting currently 4th. He has a couple lap cars in between him and 3rd place driver Critico now, but just outside the podium right now is Feluca. Sensei in 7th position, and this is our 2nd place driver in qualifying. So I had an issue, not exactly sure what that issue was, but ended up falling down the field a fair bit. We've seen a couple of self-induced spins and incidents here, a nice save a little while back from this driver as well, and it has fought its way back up into 7th position. So not too shabby, if I say so myself. OGR Toolshed coming in with that love on the stream as well. Much love, my dude. Hope you're doing fantastic, brother. Well, hey, you know, the dog's gotta play. The dog's gotta play, John. Get that squeaky ball. Get that squeaky ball. Alright, Pixel Chaos closing in there too, as well, as you can see on Adrena and the Lamborghini in front. So trying to get back, not Adrena, sorry. The 911 driver, the Mercedes driver. We all know who I'm talking about, right? Yeah, fantastic. All right, let's move forward. Cletus here in 6th place. Now, this driver, it was challenging for the lead early on in the race, and he's just been trying to pick his way back up through the field. He is in behind Johnny B right now, 5.3 seconds in behind. See if he can grab that up. SRE Boss in 12th. Nedward in 18th. I love that name. Nedward here in 18th position. Another Ferrari driver here, and I think this is his first race here at Infinite Racing League as well. So, tough racing here tonight in the rain. We got Critico in 3rd position, and Critico is doing what Critico does, just puts his nose to the pavement and just keeps pushing, and where he ends up, he ends up. But right now, up into P3. Rapid Duck in second place, and this is really going to change perplexity the standings. If this race were to finish right now, next time they came across the start-finish line, Bloxham would potentially retain the championship lead moving into round 7. Rapid Duck would very quickly potentially move up into a battle for podium, and so would Critical Basilico, who's right there too. He would potentially start putting pressure on maybe even Johnny B for that second place overall position to championships. Now I'm just speculating because I haven't reviewed the championship standings fully myself yet, but I know that these particular sets of drivers are all within striking distance of each other one way or another if one of them has a bad race per se. GLR Seal in 16th position, and just a tough start to the race, but putting in the paces, getting that car around the racetrack, looking for that checkered flag. Racing Hobo in 8th place, and this driver again just chilling. This driver's been probably the most chill driver all race long. He's just, yeah, man, doing the thing. Bringing that BMW corner by corner, lap by lap, second by second. And we've seen good battling from this driver, just not unnecessary battling. Good, smart racing decisions. And this is about a driver who's just more worried about bringing the car home in one piece, I think, at the end of this race today, especially with the extreme conditions, and not necessarily about bringing home the race win. But, you know, slow and steady wins the race is an old saying as well. And a little mistake there, and you can see he's just going to get out of the way. He's not even going to fight for this position. He's just going to give it up to Adrena there. Adrena's going to move up into 8th place, thank you very much. And, you know, just a smart decision making right there. Adrena making a mistake there coming through the chicane, and we got Critical getting around the Mercedes there as well coming through the same chicane. So the drivers are quite mixed up here now as the pit stop sequence. I don't think there's a driver left that was a pit stop except for a race leader at this point. So the drivers are quite mixed up now. Choco in 17th, he is in behind 18th, he is ahead of 14th, so how many laps down? Unsure, but in between a couple of unpositional cars. This is position here. We have Viper in the Mercedes and Pixel in the white Ferrari in behind, a little bit in the distance in behind, and then he's got third place driver Critico up in front, but in front of Critico is a positional battle with Racing Hobo in 9th position. So if the Mercedes can tuck up in behind Critico quick enough here and use Critico to help gain on Racing Hobo, that may help the Mercedes driver battle that driver for 9th overall position on the racetrack. We'll have to see how he plays that out. Johnny B is in 5th place. We're not seeing the right car. We're looking for a gold Audi. There it is. And the cameraman maybe has a little issue with his camera there, as he's had a hard time keeping up with the cars coming through that corner today. But he gets us back on our last season championship winner, Johnny B, and looking to repeat that here this season. But he is up against it today, as the driver chasing him and putting pressure on him for that championship is leading this race currently. And speaking of the TV crew, hey, you know what? Props to the TV crew, everybody. You know, I'm thinking about the next driver I want to see, and they are putting us on there. We are in tune. The TV crew and the booth, we are rocking right now, so I'm loving things here. But it is our race leader, and he's been in control all race long. He had Cletus, like I said, tucked up underneath his wing for the first 15 to 18 minutes of the race. He really didn't panic. Cletus wasn't, you know, showing any aggression, any pressure, any immediate intentions to try and battle for that position. It's early on in the race. It's more about, you know what, let's just get away from the pack and we'll fight this thing out at the end of the race. Unfortunately for Cletus, he just made a mistake, and he's found himself chasing the pack since. But Bloxham's really doing a great job here. Rapid Duck, though, is closing in. 5.8 seconds is that gap here now. So Rapid Duck has stepped it up a notch here in second place to try and chase down the race leader with a little less than 20 minutes remaining. Lots of time to do it. Adrena in 8th place has Critical Basilico just up in behind. So again, you can see the drivers are quite mixed up here on pit stops, different strategies, damage, repairs, just different things happening. And the 3rd place driver in behind the 8th place driver here now on the racetrack as well. So JDR here in 13th. He's between the 5th and 6th place driver. We've got Penciling Mad here in 15th. He's between the 7th and 17th place driver. So quite mixed up. Marcio in 14th. He's between 17th and 18th place driver. The next positional car is 21 seconds away from this driver here today currently, and that doesn't mean nothing with the rain. That is one spin, and that time is potentially made up. Fluka, we've seen Fluka have one mistake here for sure today, and it was a great save and a great racing re-entry, losing some positions, but still was able to stay in the battle with the pack that he was fighting in after that crazy incident. So definitely a great save from Fluka here, and you can see that Ferrari does not like that second chicane. That curb is very high there, and you can see 2 or 3 bounces coming from some of these cars coming over that really aggressive chicane curb. Sensei in 7th place. It's all blue flag traffic in front of him right now, so no need to put immediate pressure here. He's got Choco in front, and I believe Penciling Mad just in front here, and Choco still, I believe, driving a fairly heavily damaged race car here as well. Are we correct on that? Yes, we are. You can see how crooked that hood is coming all the way down the back straight from a distance there. So Choco's just trying to get this car safe and sound. The Porsche driver doing a great job at allowing that Ferrari driver through as well, and still giving space to Choco, who's gaining ground. That was great movement right there from Penciling Mad, Choco, and Nove Sensei. That was great stuff right there. Love to see it. Great respect, great etiquette, and great racing awareness again by the drivers behind the wheel of all 3 of those race cars, and 3 different manufacturers of race cars as well. Pixel Chaos in 10th place, Racing Hobo just up ahead, 1.1 seconds, and boy, Viper 0024, 1.9 seconds in behind. So Viper just continuing to find himself dropping down the field here. It's really unfortunate. He was having a great race here, and just continues to fall down the field here, and you can see he's got a good 2.5 second gap, 2.5 second gap. It says 1.8 on the live timing here. That's just me looking at the space between speculating instead of looking at the information in front of me. But it seems to be losing pace with these 2 drivers up ahead. But the pressure is really starting to mount from Pixel of Chaos on Racing Hobo here in the BMW. So let's see if he gets her done here. 15, just under 16 minutes remaining left in the race. Now's the time we're going to start seeing the drivers put pressure, force the issue, drive a little bit harder, take a little more risk. It's getting near the end of the race. They have their crews reporting back. You're faster than this guy's gaining on you in this sector. They're giving that important information to the drivers to work with, and you can see right there Racing Hobo again, just not challenging, just again safety first for this driver, and that's going to be a position gain there from Pixel of Chaos, and Racing Hobo is going to drop slot into 10th place, but can Viper 24 capitalize on that and squeeze himself back into the top 10 in the Mercedes is the bigger question. 4th place driver Fluke is starting to creep in on these drivers, may affect the pace of these drivers as they got to let that driver through as well. Alright, Cletus 8 seconds in behind next positional driver Johnny B is in 5th place. Right now he's got JDR and SRE Boss in front of him. This is 13th and 12th position drivers now. This is a tricky situation. Those drivers potentially could be battling for actual track position, and Cletus needs to make a tough decision. Either hang back, let it happen, and it is what it is. You just got to ride it out, or make his way through each car individually. You definitely, it's as a lead lap car, don't want to get involved in a back marker, for a lack of a better word, car situation battle, because you're just putting unnecessary risk there. And I'm not sure what happened there. I think JDR tried to just step out of the way of the Ferrari driver there and caught a puddle and just immediately exit left into the wall there and sideswiping that wall. So that's a tough hit there for the Lamborghini, and I believe all he was trying to do was just let Cletus through there, and just got caught out by a unexpected puddle or a dip in the racetrack there. But just a quick momentum traction loss from our Lamborghini driver there, and boy oh boy, that resulted in a bit of a hit into the wall there. So the driver will spend a couple corners assessing how that race car feels here now as they move towards pit lane, see if it's pit stop needed for that Lamborghini. But boy, that was unfortunate to see. You hate to see it. SRE Boss here in 12th position, and Viper is in that car 15 seconds ahead, so nothing really doing right there. And Edward, much of the same thing. There we go. This is 12 seconds from Critico to Rapid Duck in 2nd place. Rapid Duck is 7 seconds in behind Bloxham, so Bloxham has indeed opened the gap back up on Rapid Duck by a little bit. top 3. Fluke is 15 seconds in behind Critical at this point, so I'm not going to say that this is what we should expect to see for the finish, because anything can happen, but looking good for those drivers right now in the top 5-6 positions here on the racetrack. Rapid Duck 6.6 seconds currently right now on track behind our race leader Blocks him. Seal 16th position. Oof, a little bit of slipping and sliding coming from some of these guys as they're coming through. Some of these guys might be on full race old tires. They're almost 60-minute old tires at this point. They could be getting a little bit slippery. They might be losing that grabability in these wet surfaces now. They may need to start adjusting their lines through corners. Maybe the tires are starting to overheat a little bit because they're losing that rubber tread on them. Lots of things definitely happening here for those drivers that may have opted to take fresh tires. They're definitely going to be in better shape around the racetrack. It's just whether or not that was the right call, and can they make the time up in the remaining 12 minutes of the race. So we got Johnny B. Oh boy, and oh, we got traffic coming. There we go. Cletus is going to grab a spot there. Cletus is going to jump up into 5th place. Oh boy, and that was not what Johnny B needed. Heavy damage on the front end of this Audi, and just a mistake, a spin. Yeah, he got that car turned around, refired and back in the race, but that cost him a position, and that just puts him another position in between him and the race leader, leading it into the points championship standings. So not what Johnny B wanted to see there. I'm sure he's going to be very upset with himself about that, and you know, he'll learn from it and move on and refocus up for round 7. But the race ain't over yet. There is still 11.5 minutes remaining, so he may not be the only driver getting tired, getting exhausted, losing focus a little bit. You know, these are tough racing conditions for every driver on track here tonight. Got Method coming in with that thumbs up. Hope you're doing fantastic. Always coming in and showing love. We appreciate you. OG here at GT45 Gaming. Penciling Mad here in 16th. So losing a couple spots here throughout the race. Arcano is up into 13th, so he's gained another position here. And it's SRE Boss is the next driver. 21 seconds up the road. Going to be a tough ass there with only 11 minutes remaining in the race. Fluka is 16 seconds behind Critical Basilico in 3rd place. So again, big tough ask, but anything can happen. It's not over until the checkered flag waves. Sensei in 7th position. Again, qualified well, had something happen, just fell through the field, and he's had a good, solid, consistent race since. He is moving up on the 13th place driver, Marcio, but Johnny B in 6th place, 27 seconds up the road ahead of him there. Tough ask, again, just a tough ask to make that time up with such a short amount of time left remaining in the race. Pixel Chaos is in 9th position, and Adrenal Luke is only 6 seconds up the road. This, potentially, could turn into a battle. Cletus is in 5th place. We've seen him just come around and get ahead of Johnny B after he was correcting the self-induced incident on the racetrack, getting that car back on and ready to continue on through his race here. Cletus came back around and picked up that freebie, so that was a free one, so he didn't have to fight for that one. That saves him time, that allows him to continue his charge. But we do know that Johnny B is a quick driver, and if he doesn't have too much heavy damage on that race car, he may be able to battle back and try to get that position back. So Cletus is trying to get away. A little bit of a slide. Ooh, you can see that Ferrari struggling a little bit here. That's 2 slides and 3 corners from Cletus there, and maybe the car just not 100% underneath anymore. And that may be the case for quite a few of the drivers as we lead into the end part of our race here. You know, there might be, John, there might be something I'm unaware of. I haven't done full research on the new update yet, so I can't really unofficially answer that question for you at the moment. I don't even know if spectator mode has changed. I'm just rolling it with the way I normally run it because that's what I know worked before. We may have options, we may have things that are available to me that I'm unaware of, so I just need to do my part there and sort that out. Oh boy, we've got a Beamer and a Mercedes there, and boy oh boy, that is not looking good. Viper into the wall there, and I'm not sure who the BMW was. It may very well have been Racing Hobo, and that's unfortunate as again, just the one guy just being patient, giving everybody their space, letting them have positions, and let's hope that wasn't the other car involved in that incident we've seen there. but that was definitely an intensive wreck. Oh, and it might have been Racing Hobo. Oh, that's, you hate to see it. You hate to see it. And the Viper here as well. So both cars getting service work done here with 8 minutes remaining in the race. Devastating for those drivers' races. So they're going to be sitting at about a 3 to 3.5 minute pit stop here, which is going to cost them a couple laps. And oh, you hate to see it, but racing, that's racing. Blocks them here in the lead, 8.7 seconds. So starting to open the gap back up on Rapid Duck. Rapid Duck really looked like he had an answer there. He was really starting to close in, but MX Bloxham is just taking it to the next level again himself as the leader of this race and ensuring that that gap stays nice and cozy. Adrena is in 8th place. Pixel KS 5.7 seconds in behind. Next positional battle for this driver, not even sure where they are on the track in comparison. So, I mean, just got to bring this thing home. 7 more minutes around the racetrack here. Nice, clean, tidy. Don't miss the mark. Don't make the mistake. Don't hit the big fat puddle. And take home and salvage great positional points. Do experiment off-stream facts. You know it, John. You know it. We don't like to take those kinds of risks. We always take a lot of pride in the broadcast ability. So without doing the testing, I don't like to make the change. I 100% agree. We got Marcio here in 11th position. Fluka is in 4th. Fluka's been doing so good this season. Really coming, when we compare to last season, he had good pace last season, but the consistency was a little hit and miss. This season, the consistency is most certainly there. So in a short amount of time, this driver's really locked into the Ferrari cars, and it's starting to show in results and in racing on track here throughout the season this season. And Novu Sensei, I love that name too, actually. Quick driver, clearly, in qualifying, 2nd place, qualifying just in behind MX Blocks and lined up right beside our pole sitter in our current race leader. And again, just made a mistake somewhere at some point that we missed and ended up falling through the field. Then we seen another mistake a little bit later on that caused some damage, and he's been doing his thing since. But man, holding a really solid 7th place here. So, you know, that's experience of a driver behind the wheel when they've got a pretty damaged up race car and they can still handle a good, consistent pace, not lose any more position from it. So a good salvage race if that's the case there from Novu Sensei for sure. Pixel Chaos, been a hit and miss race for this driver as well in this Ferrari. Just again, a couple overstep moments on throttle, and we've seen this driver have a couple of incidents. I mean, the pit crews have been replacing some carbon fiber on these race cars without a question of a doubt today. They're going to have to do some part restocking after this race, and much like last season, the mechanics were definitely busy in between the racing rounds. Thankfully, it's a 2-week break there. At that point last season, this season, these guys got 6 days to have these cars fully functioning back together, 100% or as close to, and back on the racetrack ready for next week's round at Zandvoort. So, and that's an even more difficult racetrack than Zolder is. SR Boss in 10th place, sitting in the top 10 here all of a sudden. So taking advantage of that mistake made by the BMW driver of Racing Hobo and Viper of the Mercedes, creating a couple of freebies out of the deal, so finding himself in the top 10. It always feels good to finish in the top 10. It really does, no matter what your pace as a driver is. If you don't get what you're looking for, top 10 finish seems to soothe the wound in a sense a little bit and help it heal a little quicker, because, I mean, good points in top 10. Keeps you in it, keeps you in the fight, it keeps you in the conversation. So not obviously what every racer wants entering the racetrack, but it is one of those positions that's satisfactory. It'll do, you know. Nedward here in 17th position. Alright, so it's critical, 10 seconds behind Rapid Duck. So losing pace on Rapid Duck. Rapid Duck's clearly trying to step up the pace to respond to the leader MX Bloxham, who is, you know, maybe not that far ahead of Rapid Duck. Let's go take, whoa, we got a back marker off on the side of the track there, so doing a great job at just staying out of the way there, but another red Ferrari in the sand, and that's not a good place to be with how much range here. It might be stuck in the sand there, and that could potentially bring out a full course caution with 3.5 minutes to go. Wouldn't that be something? 7.3 seconds is the lead between him and Bloxham, so he is closing in on Bloxham, but not quite as quickly as I maybe thought he might have been there. Seal in 12th place, Hobo here in 16th, and again, after getting that car fixed, the team's gotten him back on track. He's not getting last place points because 20 cars started here, so he is in 16th. It's not all lost. What do we got? Viper here in 15th position. We've got Johnny B in 6th place. So Johnny B was in 5th, had a spin, lost 5th place to the driver just up in front of him here with Cletus. So ultimately, I think these are the two closest drivers on the racetrack right now are Johnny B and Cletus here. Bloxham here, where is he in the lead? And just cozy, no scratches, no damage to that car. Looks like he's had a pretty neat and tidy race. He's given up some time gaps here, so a couple seconds here and there, so maybe some wiggles or some moments on the racetrack, but overall it seems like it's been a pretty clean, tidy race for our race leader. And fastest lap on the track right now is what, 135.9. In the wet conditions here. I'm not sure how that relates to time. Those of us that are more familiar with the track and GT3 times around the racetrack might have a better idea what that relates to, but I'm assuming, knowing the driver, that's a pretty quick time. Adrena in 8th place. Pixel Chaos is only 4.3 seconds behind, so a small mistake, and that changes things here with 2 minutes remaining. So, and just as these two come across the start-finish line, it's going to be 2 to go. So I think as Bloxham has come around here, it should be 2 to go. I could be wrong on that, but that's just a rough calculation in my head real quick. JDR is in 14th position. He's been battling the storm all day long, so to speak, and he's still got that Lamborghini on track, and that Lamborghini is still looking beauty. Still looking beauty. I love that blue, white, and red. It's looking real good. Penciling Mad is in 13th position. So up, down, and all around is been up and down the grid here. So in this driver, the number 444 Porsche, but still there and still doing his thing and looking good on track. Marcio, 11th position. So I thought maybe that he wasn't going to get close to that top 10, but boy, oh boy, finding himself just outside of it here again in 11th place. But he does have MX Bloxham, the race leader, kind of starting to poke up towards the tailpipe a little bit there. Fluke is in 4th place, and I can't even see the next positional driver in front of him, which means it's a large gap, over 20 seconds. Cletus is 4 seconds in behind. That is a potential battle for position. So Fluke has gotten ahead of Cletus, or been ahead of Cletus here. It looks like Cletus has been nipping away here, but the Viper is in between these drivers, and Cletus still needs to worry about Johnny B in behind there too as well. So Bloxham coming across, and we've seen Race Control just call out the final lap call there as well. Ooh, there we go. So we're wondering how this was going to work out with of course the Mercedes here being a lap down and these drivers closing in. There's another positional car not that far up ahead. This is turning into be a little bit of spicy racing here, so we're going to stick with our 4th, 5th, and 6th place drivers. I suspect that this is going to be a final lap showdown between all these guys as they come around the start-finish line. Now, the leader's already crossed that point. He's already on his final lap of the race. These guys are just coming to that point now, so a good 35-40 second gap difference between our leader and, well, just off the podium pack, essentially. So just minimize mistakes, and it relates to time on the racetrack here tonight. That's really all it's been. So here we go. We're rocking and rolling. Ooh, a little bit wide goes Cletus, and we're just going to take it here because I have a little more control over what we're going to see here over the next little bit. So and you can see Johnny B's, he's putting the pressure in here. Fluke is just up ahead as they come through the chicane. Johnny B looked for a great exit there. Looked like he came out with a nice line, but that Ferrari up ahead definitely has the answer for the Audi. So where's Bloxham? I think he's just came through and took that checkered flag. Rapid Duck will be next, finishing here in 2nd place. Great finish for Rapid Duck. Critical is going to take a P3 here as he comes around the final corner for the final time tonight. And 3rd place finish for Critical as well. Fluka, close but no cigar here tonight, but a great drive nonetheless in his new Ferrari 296 model. And he is going to take a P4 here today as he survives the last couple of corners as well. So that was some great racing right here from all our drivers. And they're just coming up right now. You can see that battle just up in behind there with Cletus and Johnny B. So we're going to stick with Fluka here as he is coming around, and it doesn't look like we're going to see a position change in behind here either. Alright, so it's Cletus. Cletus is going to stay in 5th place. Fluka takes that flag there in 4th, and it is going to be Johnny B finishing here in 6th place today. Novu Sensei is going to come around. It should be a 7th place finish for this driver here. And we just got just a couple drivers not quite across yet. So Adrena Luke has officially finished in 8th position. Pixel of Chaos has officially finished in 9th position. SRE Boss just coming across, finishing get around at the top 10 there. Marcio finishing in 11th, Seal in 12th, Penciling Mad 13th, JDR in 14th, Racing Hobo in 15th, Viper in 16th, Nedward in 17th. And 3 drivers now in behind pit wall. So the last one to take a checkered flag on the day is going to be Novu Sensei. And it's a good solid 7th place finish for his first race of the season. So tough racing tonight and a great solid racing finisher. And MX Bloxham, of course, holding fastest lap on the track throughout the race. So pole position, fastest lap, and the race win for MX Bloxham, and potentially takes over championship points lead coming into round 7 as well. So big day of racing for MX Bloxham coming in. Howdy buddy, how goes? Hey, the racing was fantastic. Again, another spicy rain race here tonight from our drivers. So again, Bloxham in first, Rapid Duck in second, and Critico in third. We've got Fluka in fourth, Cletus in fifth, Johnny B in sixth, Novu in seventh, Adrena in eighth, Pixel of Chaos in ninth, Boss in 10th, Arcano in 11th, GLR in 12th, Penciling Mad in 13th, JDR in 14th, Racing Hobo in 15th, Viper in 16th, Nedward in 17th, Choco retiring early in 18th position, H. Josh retiring near early on in the race in 19th, and Scary Guy looks like it didn't start the race here today. So a DNS for that driver as he wasn't able to get that car out of pit lane in time for the race start. And you know, that's racing, that's just the way it goes sometimes. So GG's to the drivers. We're going to flip back and we'll give the drivers a little bit of a chance to filter their way to the commentators booth for some interviews if they choose to do so. It's not mandatory, it is optional. And in the meantime, we'll let you guys watch the video made by one of the great members here at the Infinite Racing League community.
Chase to the sundown. We on the chase to the sun up. What's up? Leading the line when we run up. Chasing, chasing, chasing. Every day we chasing, chasing, chasing. No time to be wasted. Look, faking the lead, we don't follow. We need it now, not tomorrow. Don't care what they say, not changing the pace. Working too hard to be last in the race. So much time in the day, and it ain't none to waste. Working this hard to be one of the greats. Whatever it takes, put that on the plate. Life is a gamble, we raising the stakes. Moving the bar up so high. Been on our grind, for life. Bringing the light, you just so bright. We shining, platinum sound cool, but we trying to reach diamond. Hard work pays off, that's perfect timing. Changing the world with this rhyming, it's priceless. We got the nicest by putting the time in. Can't be the greatest, you're not even trying. What now? We on the chase to the sundown. We on the chase to the sun up. What's up? Leading the line when we run up. Chasing, chasing, chasing. Every day we chasing, chasing, chasing. No time to be wasted. What now? We on the chase to the sun up. What's up? Leading the line when we run up. What now? We on the chase to the sun up. What's up? Leading the line when we run up.
Man, I lost track of time. I apologize, Mama. Go ahead and eat without me. I'm still on the grind.
I ain't touching home base by dinner time. All I can see is the finish line. Started, I gotta finish mine. It's get it time, anytime, hella long. I've been in line, I didn't mind it all. Wake and bake, won't take a break at all. That's on my word, my boss. Naming lights, gon' have to pay me twice or pay me no mind, and I don't mind it all. My grind is green, I am my job to inspire. I'm right behind Gote, line has been fired by a chain for 8 time. I ain't get hired, second week kicked in, I probably won't get tired. Kevin Gates or Kevin Bacon, only 6 degrees of separation between me and the next level of elevation. Perseverance, the art of dedication.
What now? We on the chase to the sundown. We on the chase to the sun up. What's up? Leading the line when we run up. Chasing, chasing, chasing. Every day
All right, ladies and gentlemen, great little view there. So we do have a couple of our drivers here hanging out with us for interviews. And yeah, hello, gentlemen. How's it going? Oh, you're. I can hear you. The viewers can't yet. You're good. All right, yeah, definitely save that for after here. We'll get through this real quick here. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we got two of our three podium finishers here, and again, it's not a required thing by our drivers here. This is just something that's optional for them if they feel like they want to come and talk a little bit about how they felt their day went. And we're going to talk about Rapid Duck. We have seen this gentleman week in and week out. He's quick. He has great pace. He does typically really well in qualifying, and had a great race in the rain here today. A couple of oopsie moments on the racetrack, but for the most part, the top three drivers really making or minimalizing on their mistakes in the rain. So a really tough day of racing to start with here. Obviously today at Zolder, this is 2 seasons in a row where this track just doesn't want to seem to play nice for the racers. So compared to the first season's race, it looked like a lot of the drivers really had a better handle on the extreme conditions on the racetrack. Now, was that just due to past information from that previous season, or maybe just a different approach from the drivers after experiencing that 80-minute race last season at this track under these conditions?
I mean, honestly, the more you drive in wet, especially on a track like Zolder, the more experience you get, the more comfortable you get. But I'll be honest with you, I didn't feel comfortable almost at any time. It was constant battle to keep the car on the track and just avoid any trouble and bring it home safely. Don't get any unnecessary damage. Don't get involved into unnecessary fights. But overall, just full focus for a full 70 minutes and avoid making any stupid mistakes. I mean, it was not easy, but pace honestly today was not there. I was 0.8. I was slower than all the drivers in from P1 to P7. I was the slowest driver. I just kept it clean. I kept it from any trouble and then managed to bring it home in a pretty good fashion. Some drivers behind me changed tires. I took the gamble, didn't change tires. Went 70 minutes on the same set of tires and it paid out pretty well.
Absolutely, and I mean, strategy is sometimes key to success, obviously, especially in endurance racing and in tough conditions like this. That was a big discussion midway through the race, whether or not the driver is going to opt to take fresh tires when they finally do make that pit stop. And it's not just obviously racing for position that's the issue, and under these extreme conditions, you have pit stop sequences, you have drivers that have struggled early on in the race. They've had to make extra pit stops, repair things, whatever the case may be. Now you've got to also navigate slower traffic. So, I mean, in these conditions, I mean, how was that tonight out there? It looked like they were handling it pretty well, but it's always a little bit of a scary moment when you're a lead lap car coming up to a slower car, obviously in these conditions. So how do you manage that?
I mean, definitely today. I mean, very narrow track overall, very hard to pass, and you add on top of that, you add water and the rain and difficult conditions. You just have to stay patient. Don't make any stupid lunges. Just wait for the back marker to let you go. Even if you lose 1 second, it's still better than risking any damage, any contact. Just stay patient. If the car ahead of you doesn't want to let you go, just try to flash him, but still stay patient. Wait for the car ahead of you. Luckily, I didn't have any bad experiences today. All the bad markers were very polite. We're moving to the side. So, I mean, as usual here, I never had any bad experiences with bad markers. But the most important is really stay patient. Don't do any stupid mistake. Don't lunge. Don't compromise your line. Just stay close, and 99% of the cases, the driver ahead will just let you go.
Absolutely, and lots of respect shown on the racetrack today. But like I said, compared to last season, it seemed like it was a lot more of a controlled race for the majority of the drivers. And again, a lot of the drivers returning from last season experienced that race last season, and we're in this season. A little bit chaotic at the beginning of the race, but thankfully for the front runners, you guys, were ahead of that battle and didn't have to get collected up in there. But definitely good racing from the top 4, 5, 6. I mean, there was a point where you guys were second through sixth place, nose to tail. Heavy rain, you got overspray. How do you really locate where your braking points is in that situation? Are you looking for secondary visual markers, or are you just relying kind of on muscle memory and experience with that racetrack?
I mean, I was in a good position because I was the second car. Everybody was behind me. I was the slowest car through P2 for P6. I was hands on the slowest driver. But as long as I didn't make any mistake, there is really no position to pass without them making any contact. So for a good 25 minutes, I kept Luca and all the guys behind me, and then I made one mistake, let Luca go, and that was it. But I mean, in conditions like this, as long as you don't make any stupid mistake, it's just so difficult to pass. I was just lucky to hold everybody up. I knew once I let them go, there is no more racing for me. I mean, hands down, their pace was half a second faster each lap than me. So I just stuck to the racing line, parked on every apex, and didn't let them go. And I mean, it worked out pretty well. Luca eventually passed me, and I mean, once he passed me, he was gone. Within 2 laps, he put a big gap on me, and that's all. That's all I really seen him. But then he had some moments. He spun, unfortunately, so I just went through. But as I said, I mean, the pace was not there today. I just tried to keep it clean, stay out of any trouble, block the traffic behind me, not let anybody go, and just go as long as possible, and then just put 1 liter in and hope for the best. I was just hoping that my tires wouldn't die, but as it turned out, my fastest lap was, I believe, with 10 minutes to go, which I didn't really expect.
Absolutely, and I mean, obviously, a new update had just recently come down the line here on ACC PS5 version, and with that update, of course, came a great racetrack, but it also came some updated versions of some of our manufacturers' race cars here in the GT3 version. Of course, that was the big one, the Ferrari 296 coming in, lots of hype around that, but not only that, the Porsche and the Lamborghinis as well coming in, and of course, we've seen all three of those new versions of the cars on the racetrack, and some of you guys opting just to stick with the cars that you've been racing with this season. You feel comfortable with that? Is that the reasoning behind it, or did you just want to see how these quote unquote older race cars stack up against the newer race cars?
I mean, honestly, I've always been. I mean, even back in the day when I was racing on PS4, I was always racing McLaren, and since I switched to PS5, it's been only BMW for me. But I already done some testing. I mean, the 296 is an incredible car, all around, very, very, very fast. I mean, amazing car. I think right now the fastest car all around on the grid. I did some testing using the new McLaren GT Evo. Amazing car. That's going to be probably my choice. I already done some racing. I'm pretty sure that's going to be my choice for the next season of both Saturday, Sundays, and Monday series. But all around, I think all the new cars. I mean, Lamborghini, very fast car as well. Porsche, very difficult to handle. But once you get a grip of it, as well, I mean, amazing car. I think Kunos did a great job with this update. Those new cars, they look great, they drive great, and overall, the new physics, the new tire physics. I mean, the force feedback is completely different. Just so much more enjoyable to drive those cars right now.
Fantastic, and I mean, that's what we love to hear. And I mean, they're doing a great job at really enticing the platform and growing the platform. I think they're moving in a great direction. I think that we're going to continue to see really great door-by-door racing action as of course the sim and the platform continue. But I mean, great racing from you today. And I guess anything you want to add to your race today, and anybody you want to thank or shout out before we move on to our race winner here?
I mean, and the only thing I got to say, congrats to MX. I mean, his pace today was, you couldn't match it. Half a second ahead of everybody in quali. Then in the race, he puts on me, I believe, 15 seconds. And after a pit stop, he was just cruising, keeping 8-9 seconds of gap. But I mean, there was nothing anybody could do against him. So huge shout out to MX. Great race.
Absolutely, and that it was, and congratulations for you as well, coming in with in tough conditions and coming out with a really good strong result here for yourself as well to come into the final 2 rounds of the season. So definitely can't wait to see what you have at Zandvoort next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Bloxham. We're no stranger to this gentleman. We've talked to him a few times this year. He seems to be a magnet around the podiums here right now. But I got to say, the competition seems to be getting stronger and stronger as these races continue to progress each round through each season. But MX Bloxham coming in with the Audi. I mean, he's very comfortable with the car. We know he's comfortable with the car. He's a great driver in the car in very tough conditions. Boy, did you have I mean, with the exception of a couple little mistakes, I would imagine, basically a perfect race in the rain here for 70 minutes around Zolder this week. I mean, great racing from you. How was it out there? I mean, you got great qualifying, you got off early, you got a great gap. What's your strategy for the next 68 minutes of the race at that point?
Win now. Win now. Got to. I ended up down by 8 points to Johnny after the race at Spa, so I had to win now. It's go time.
Oh boy, and did we call that, Chad? I mean, it's competition time. We're getting near the end of the season, and like I said, Bloxham is the guy chasing our defending championship points leader right now, Johnny B. But you know, you just you locked in tonight. I mean, the crew obviously got that car absolutely hooked up for you tonight, and you were definitely up to the challenge of the extreme weather conditions. And I mean, anytime we were watching, you just looked flawless out there. I mean, with the exception of a couple of wiggles, I would imagine it was really a great race for you. But I mean, you know, you got that comfortable lead, and are you aware of where Johnny B is? I guess as you're coming around the grid, you know, is your racing team relaying that information? Do you know how many spots are in between you or him? Or are you just in that, you know what, I'm just not looking back mentality? Catch me if you can.
You know, I could see like second and third and who was in those places. I had no idea where Johnny was for the first 35 minutes. I noticed he was back there in, fourth, fifth, something like that. And, to me, it's just, I can't worry about where he's at. I can't worry about what he's doing. I've got to run my own race and go win. You know, you win out, you win the title. So that's just kind of the mind state I'm in right now. It's just win. It doesn't matter where they're at. He could have been second. He could have been 15th. No offense to Johnny at all, but I wasn't worried where he was at.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, it's tough. It's tough being a driver in such a heated championship battle. You know, the series, that the season is nearing an end. You know what the math is. I mean, obviously the teams have broke that down. The drivers have broke that down. You know what you need to do now. You know, it's some of the drivers may be thinking about that. And maybe that's playing into what's happening in their races a little bit too, because they're not 100 and 1,000% focused in a race like this. But I mean, you just were moving and grooving. You were patient. It seemed like the lap traffic was extremely cooperative. It seemed like the guys that were on pace, they were kind of really fighting some of the mid-lap traffic, but when you guys came up, the leaders came up, they were just immediately like, whoop, hey, gold car, I'm just going to snibby on over here and let this man through. So, I mean, uneventful race for you for the most part, I think. Pit strategy, did you opt to take tires in this, or did you also just run a full double stint on your tires here as well today?
I just went ahead and ran a double stint. I started a little heavy on fuel and went a little long, which, I guess let me lead every lap of the race, which was another just bonus. Really, I was just trying to mind the gap. And I seen at the end that, they're close 20 minutes, 15 minutes ago, whatever it was, that I didn't have the fastest lap. So I went ahead and threw in a couple of heaters, and I guess I ended up getting that too.
Absolutely. I mean, Critical Basilico was he was holding that title there for quite a while throughout the race with a low 36 there, and then near the end of the race, we noticed you had scooped that up away. So I mean, pole position, race lead for the whole race, like you said, race win and fastest lap here. So really a big gain for you here tonight. So I do believe that's going to be enough to put you up ahead of Johnny B. Obviously, with him finishing back in 6th place here tonight. So well, what can we say, Chad? Is watch out for Johnny B, because Johnny B is going to be thinking the same thing that Bloxham is right now. And if I don't win the next 2 races, I might have just let that championship slip away. So expect the 2 Audi drivers to be pushing each other, I think, over the next couple rounds. We head to Zandvoort next round for round 7. How you feeling about the track? It's a little bit of a difficult racetrack, so feeling confident there? The car feels good around there? Do you have information about the track?
Not yet. Just from past experiences on the track, I do love the track. It's really fun. It's very tight. It's extremely hard to get around lap traffic and stuff around there. I'm just gonna give it everything I have. I mean, that's all I can do. That's the same I did tonight, same I did last week and the week before. Just give it everything I got, and let's see where the cards fall.
Absolutely. I mean, that's just spoken like a true competitor right there for everybody viewing at home. I mean, great race for me. I mean, it was uneventful for you. You just led the charge, you controlled the pace, and at the end of the day, made less mistakes than everybody else on the racetrack, and absolutely just showed these guys that you are a man to be watching out for that championship this season. That's for sure. So, I mean, I guess on that note, anything you want to add to that, and any thank yous or shout outs you want to toss out there?
Guess I got to give a big hell yeah, baby. And big thank you to the Audi crew. Big thanks to everybody who showed up tonight. Big thanks again to the admin crew that they help keep these races going every week. Man, it was awesome. It just I needed that kind of race. It's been a little bit. I needed one like that. Just a little bit of a confidence builder here for the last of the season.
Absolutely. Well, a good solid race win and probably the toughest conditions you're going to see all season long. Should definitely help with building the confidence up a little bit. And I bet you that team is definitely waiting to celebrate with you as well. They're backing behind pit wall. So great job by yourself and the team. And again, to everybody on the racetrack that makes this happen. We can't do it without the volunteers behind the scenes. So, thank you for a great racing event here at Zolder again. Never disappoints at Infinite Racing League, and great racing from you as well tonight there, Blocks, and we appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. I look forward to talking to you next week.
Hey, that's what we like to hear. That is confidence right there, ladies and gentlemen. But I do suspect that Johnny B might have something to try and say about that as well. So we'll have to see if we can talk to Johnny B next week at Zandervert as well. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for taking the time to come talk with us. And, we'll see you in 7 days' time in a whole new situation. All right, folks. Ooh, wrong button. Buttons, always pushing buttons. All right, I think we got it all sorted. We do. Fantastic. Race recap. I mean, I think race control has a little bit to deal with here today. I think race start is going to be reviewed very heavily. I think that there's going to be some racing teams that might probably be putting a little bit of extra pressure on the review of the race start. At the race start, for the most part, was clean as far as coming across the start-finish line, and it was just a very unintentional, unincidental contact going into turn one that just spiraled into a multiple car collision. So that's most certainly going to be reviewed post-race by race control. I'm not going to speculate on anything further than that because that's not my job as a broadcaster. I tell it as I sees it, and that's what we saw. A little bit of absolute incidental contact, very light touch, and a whole lot of cars paid the price for it. But the race official let it go, and that'll be up to race control to review post-race. That is their job after all. That's why they're there. So we do appreciate everybody stopping by. I mean, all love. Again, if you haven't liked or shared the stream out yet, if you wouldn't mind doing so, it's something that's absolutely free to do. It takes no time at all. It's just a push of a button, a couple extra buttons for a share. And it just helps us grow as a league, as a streamer, as an organization, and a group, and the sim racing community. So we do appreciate that. If you loved what you've seen here tonight at Zolder, there's lots more where that comes from the Infinite Racing League. Smash that follow or that subscription button, depending what platform it is you watch. Turn on those live notifications, and every time IRL goes live with a race like this or anything else on any other track on this platform, you get notified and you can watch it live, whether it be from your living room, your kitchen, your bedroom, your office space, or nowadays with technology in cars, the kiddies can be watching it while you're driving down the road. But we do appreciate everybody, and I mean the fans are the driving force behind sim racing community, the drivers, and of course myself, the broadcaster. So another great night of racing action here. 70-minute endurance in the rain here at Zolder, and 20 drivers started our grid here today. One didn't quite make it out to the start finish line with mechanical issues, two having incidental issues on the racetrack, calling it an end to their day, and 17 drivers finishing up on the grid here tonight. So great turnouts as always here at the Infinite Racing League. We appreciate all the support. Welcome fans. Madeline Crow coming in with the light there as well. We appreciate everybody coming in. Just going to take a look over at the YouTube here real quick. Get a little catch up going. I think we're caught up. I think. And we are. Fantastic. We were on it today. We appreciate everybody. We miss you all. We've been working hard behind the scenes here at GT45 Gaming. That's why we haven't been live that often in the last couple of weeks. We have been bringing some big things over to the GT45 Discord server. We've just dropped another series here on GT7 platform as well. So we've just been working hard behind the scenes to make sure we've got everything absolutely as perfect as we can get it for the racers and the community and behind the scenes there. We're almost to that point now, so the content should resume as normal here again moving forward. Sometimes we just don't have enough time in the day, and we got to sacrifice things to make things other things work out, and in this case it was unfortunately the live content. But two really great sets of races here today, one from WSR Porsche Cup and of course from Infinite Racing League here. This is the Assetto Corsa Competition platform on PlayStation 5, and it is partnered with Coach Dave Academy. They do professional tunes for ACC, PC, and console gaming, of course, for a little bit of a price for their efforts, but professional tuning done by Coach Dave Academy. We appreciate y'all. You can find Infinite Racing League on SimGrid. If you have a SimGrid account, just go find Infinite Racing League within their registered drivers list. Throw them a follow. You guys know what to do from there. We appreciate y'all. Great racing, great action, a little bit of chaos, a little bit of everything when it comes with the rain. We love it, and we appreciate everybody hanging out so late here in the evening, especially here in North America. Hope you have a great start to your work week, and we'll see everybody Tuesday night for something a little fun here at GT45 Gaming. Remember, you all matter. Don't be scared to reach out. Somebody is there to willing to listen and help ease whatever it is that you're dealing with, and we love you very much, and stay winning, everybody. Until the next time, ciao.
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can